was, started a wipe doing my Lighthouse runs, and so I'm loading in on my PMC. This is like my third raid, and I loaded in, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm at some cabins, and I'm looking around, I'm looting, I'm like, this is kind of a disappointment. Looks like they just copy pasted some of the cabins from Shoreline. So I'm wandering around. I'm like, oh my god, they copy pasted the power lines too. And then I go up to the power lines and I see the fields where it's saying target spawn. I'm like, oh my god, they cop. Oh my god, I'm in. I check my extracts. I'm in Shoreline. So I clicked the wrong map. I had to play a Shoreline raid. I was, it was too funny, dude.
That's so good.
Welcome to ScavTalk, an Escape from Tarkov podcast with a continuing focus on development of the game, patch note analysis, theory crafting, and general gameplay discussion. My name is Church. I'm one of your hosts. I am a video editor for a Tarkov YouTuber named Airwing Marine.
And I'm GigaBeef, a Tarkov YouTuber, helping you guys get better at the game. And welcome to 1212. I hope you guys are well. The patch is live and kicking. And how has your week been, Church?
It's been great, man. I was just saying before we get started, I've just been playing as much as possible, except for today. But I'll probably get in a few raids here and there. You know what I'm saying? And you?
Yeah, it's been wild. There's kind of like stuff you have to do, Tarkov and sleep, and there's kind of the way that you bucket these things. It gets a little interesting around the wipe.
Yeah.
I've been like, it's been really good actually, but at the same time, like, I am super tired because I have stretched myself like really thin. I've been like enjoying the new wipe greatly. I think it's fantastic in many ways, and we'll get into that. In all the nitty go through
Yes.
all the details shortly. But yeah, in terms of like other stuff kind of surrounding the wipe and whatever, like it's actually been quite a busy week as well, like IRL, which has not helped. And then also, I was like talking to a few like random people in the comments on YouTube because they were like asking me stuff about like the channel and whatever. Because like people get interested when it's like the new wipe and all stuff's happening.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether you noticed, but I basically put out because I did like the one that I had made that I didn't think was suitable for the wipe, and I didn't want to leave it, so I just did it. And then I had the one that I had scheduled before for like the ballistics thing, and then I did another one on like Tuesday. Then I've got another one on Saturday, so I've literally like doubled the number of videos going out at the beginning because it's quite interesting actually. Because like normally you'd think you look at like most people like Pirano or whoever, like Pestily, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
There's like lots of the various spectrum of content creators who all do really well. My channel actually really suffers at the beginning of the wipe because the stuff that I do isn't really like early wipe centric, and because I'm not putting out stuff like loads of stuff early, which a lot of people are,
Right.
it actually doesn't do very well. So I was like, well, let's try to counter that this time because that happened last wipe basically, and I was like, let's try to counter that a little bit and actually put some stuff out and make some things that maybe are a little bit like faster to do, but are
Yeah.
still of high value, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
why the
Yeah.
weapons one, I was like, let's do that. So did that. It still took me like, oh god, it just takes, honestly, just making videos just takes a lot longer than anybody would think to
Yeah.
do,
For
right? It's like
sure.
you sit there and like even if you do it, because that one's kind of like it's notes not script, which is fine, but then it's like you have to go through the thing and then like it ends up being ends up being like nearly 20 minutes long because there's so much to say, and then you have to go through and like clean up and like if there's any audio glitches, like put anything up on screen you need to do, like cut the stuff, like make sure that everything's in the right place, put the overlays on, actually do the export, make the upload, the thumbnail, then add all the metadata in, like choose a title. Like dude, it's like it
It's a
takes a long
lot.
time. It really takes a long time.
And that's not
And I think,
even counting coming up with the idea, doing the research, all the
yeah.
planning process.
Yeah, exactly. Because even that, it's like it's not like I sit down and just make like a 20-minute. I don't just like sit there and do 20 minutes straight
Hmm.
with talking about each gun, right? It's like I want to go and I have like a Google Doc myself of each video, and I kind of like start with the bare bones, and then put things in as they go along. So I'm like, oh, okay, this one comes with a 30 rounder. Like it's just like key points. So I'll go like look through and like write down notes about each thing, and I'm like, okay, well, this is what I want to say, and then I talk through succinctly, because if you just try and do it straight off, you'll like miss stuff and it won't be useful. It won't be as useful. And just try to think of all the elements. So just like all the planning process and all the actual recording, trying to record it without like making too many like annoying mistakes, because some mistakes are fine, you can leave them in, but some mistakes are really annoying and they're like it's easier to re-record than it is to like fix it later. And God, it's complicated anyway. But I don't want to spend too long talking about that. But it's like that's I've just been so busy, and I did want to do a bit more streaming in the evenings. I was like, right, I'm going to crack this video out and finish that, and then I'm going to stream afterwards. And it was like I started working on it at 7, I think, and I was like, right, I'm going to finish it by 9, and then I'm going to stream for 2 hours, whatever. I finished the video at like half past midnight. And I was like, well, better go to bed. Okay, fine. So anyway, but it's been great. Like outside of doing those things, yeah, I've been like trying to play as much as I can, doing like quests here and there, to try and
Hmm.
boost myself through a little bit, and it's not been going too badly. I think I'm level 14
Oh, okay.
right now. I'm level 14, so it's been going okay. I'm nearly at the fleet, like super close. I actually kind of
Yeah.
forgot. So I was just like, next quest, next quest, next quest. I've been like really focused on trying to progress, and then I was like, oh, I'm only one level off of Flea now. Okay, cool. Um, but yeah, no, it's been decent. So, dude, I don't even know which way you want to take this first. Should we talk about should we talk about the new map? Should we talk about Lighthouse first? Do you think that's probably the best place to start, or have you got like anything else you want to begin with? That's like a more natural fit.
Um, yeah, we can start that. But before we start with that,
Okay.
I did want to say that we're gonna talk about all the juicy details in this episode. We're gonna get into all the juicy stuff. But I would love to hear from you guys, the listeners, the viewers, because your insights, your experience, your perspective is going to be super interesting because there's a whole range of spectrum of different ways of looking about things and opinions. And I've been kind of keeping my eye, or I guess it's like your thumb on the Tarkov community on like Twitter, and seeing how everyone's like adapting, kind of seeing like what's going on with all the changes, because this is a big patch, and it's been very interesting to see how it's all sort of played out. So yeah, reach out to us, get involved with the Discord. Links down below. There's also, you can send us a message if you're listening, anchor.fm/ScavTalk. Shoot us a message. We'd love to hear from you guys. So, Lighthouse, I intentionally was like, I'm going to play the new map. And I've been doing almost all my scav runs there, not some of the more recent ones because like I really need deplugs. So I'll just go and find them and like filing cabinets on reserve. But yeah, I did like all my scav raids on Lighthouse. I did my first 5 or so PMC on Lighthouse, and it was a lot bigger than I expected. Like it was huge. It was huge. Have you got to play it any?
I have specifically not played it that much. That was like very,
Okay.
very purposeful. It was kind of what I said in
Yeah,
my in the vid that I did before going in, was just like, if you want to progress, don't play it to begin with. Like it'll be
right.
really fun to do. It honestly will be really fun
Yes.
to do. But if you want to progress, then it's probably better to focus elsewhere. I haven't played any like real raids. I have played a little bit offline there. Just to kind of
Hmm.
like go around, get a feel for it. So I kind of like I know the rough like outline and have like been in it and wandered about. But yeah, I haven't actually played any live raids. I've been focusing on progression in the other ones. So, but yeah, I mean, look, it's massive, right? And um, I've watched some of the other videos about like rogues and stuff. So I've
Hmm.
not tried to go and fight them myself. I actually don't know whether they appear in offline, because I put like enemies on in some of them, and I don't think they actually appear, which is interesting because it means that you can't go and like test out trying to break them or whatever, which I think maybe is intentional. I don't know, or maybe I just did it wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say you might have to turn on scav bosses, but
Oh,
maybe,
maybe.
but even then, maybe they're in a separate branch. You know what I mean?
Mm,
That's like they're outside of the scavs and outside of scav bosses. Like that's very possible.
yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. I mean, so how have you found it anyway? Has it been like
It's
crazy
pretty
with people just all over
crazy.
the place, or like because people no one knows like what the map like pathway is or where the loot spots
Yeah,
are or anything, right?
it's 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 really cool. The best way I could describe it is like you take shoreline, you delete the resort, but it's just like a long strip, right? And
Mm.
at the end of the strip, you add on the reserve military base. That's basically the map. Like it is massive, Giga. It's massive. And there's it's really cool because there's a lot of different um variety in like long distance, mid range,
Mm.
close range. Like you have sort of like a woods vibe, a shoreline vibe. a like I said, a reserve military base vibe. There's like these mountains you can get on top of and like shoot into the USEC compound and whatnot to kill the rogues. There's landmines, which I'm not too crazy about, but I may have just not understood. I thought that they were used to like tell you that this was the boundaries, but after seeing some maps, I think they're just like and around the area because it's weird
Yeah.
because like a guy was on top of a mountain shooting at me, so I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go up there and kill him, but I'm literally hitting landmines as I'm going up there, and the odd part is you hit one, and it does like some damage to your stomach and leg, but they're not
Mm.
blacked. And you hit another one, you die instantly, and I'm not sure what
Oh, maybe
I
there's a
don't.
mechanic there.
Right, I'm not too sure what's going on with that, but that
That,
aside, yeah, go ahead. You're gonna say
I was
something?
just gonna say that's kind of strange. Yeah, that is kind
Yeah,
of strange.
I'm not too sure about that. I don't know. And again, I could have just been in the out of bounds area. It's
Mm.
really hard to say. But regardless, it's pretty cool. I haven't played it recently as much. I know there's a bunch of new quests on there, and it's gonna be fun. And yeah, I think it's really cool that they added the rogue raiders, the USEC, and how there's like a faction element to it
Yeah, like
because
it's like the bear USEC thing. Like they won't attack USEC straight away, but they will attack bears. If you're with bears, they'll attack you straight away. But they're kind of like I can't remember. Somebody described it somewhere. I think it might have been on Reddit, where it's just like, oh, you can imagine like it's like a bunch of PMCs that like escaped from terror group, or whatever, and they've just like set up this like base, with their
Mhm.
buddies, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's neat. I quite like that they're really really tough. It makes it kind of like an objective to go
Oh
and
yeah.
actually do that, because I know that people have been putting out guides like how to farm the rogues and blah
Mhm.
blah, and that's probably not what BSG want. Just like to be able to easily go in and like exploit their AI and that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
like yeah, today they literally put out a patch like making it harder, right? So like
Yeah.
even they give you even less warning, like make them even more difficult. I think it's really supposed to be like a proper challenge to go and kill these
Yeah.
dudes, which I
Yeah.
think is great.
Yes.
I mean, like tangentially speaking, there's lots of people talking about the scavs as well, about how the scavs have been like really dialed up to 11 in many ways, right? There's like scavs themselves like see you from far away. They're like much better at shooting at you. They're like much more willing to use full auto on you. Like sniper scavs will fire at you from a like honestly, it's like M61 from Jupiter, but it's Saturn and it's LPS out of a 50% Mosin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you got sniper scabs on customs. He's the one who's like become particularly notorious. The one that
Yeah.
is up on the tower. I got shot by him the other day when I was at the north edge of Dorms. By the
Yes.
between like on the right on if you're looking at the
I've seen
regular
it.
map on the right hand side, yeah, there's like the rock cluster thing. I got shot
Yeah.
there. Some people have been shot in like construction and stuff for him. Like it's wild, but like he hardly ever hits you because of the I think, well, people are speculating because the accuracy of the scav weapon that he has. So his MOA is
Yeah,
not very
that
high,
makes
but it like
sense.
scares the crap out of you, which is actually I think a really really cool thing, because you're just like, oh god, you're like suddenly getting suppressed from like miles
Yeah.
away. It makes them feel more like sniper scavs, right? Because you could just take them out with a pistol before. Um, it weren't really much of a threat. I don't know. Like some people are saying, "Oh, the scavs are overtuned and da da da." I really like it. Like you really have to be careful. Like a lot of the time, even if you know where they are, and you're like, so say you've heard them and you know that they're like kind of in an area, but you don't have like a precise bead on them, and you come around the corner and lean or whatever.
Mhm.
Like often they will actually still shoot you once. So like a lot of the time they're getting one hit off on me, even if I'm kind of know where they are and I'm like look coming around the corner and I'm just like I fire and kill them, but they get one shot onto my body armor. I'm like, man, they like slowly start to whittle you away. Um, I feel more scared now of them, and I think it's good. So yeah, look, I agree actually with the choice. Like it makes it harder, and I know it makes it harder for some newer players as well who aren't as used to fighting them. But I don't know. I think the scavs. I don't know. Maybe it's the experienced player in us talking, and maybe it's really toxic for new guys. I'm not sure, but I think it's good. Like they feel they're not equal to PMCs because they act differently, but they're
Yeah.
a legitimate. They're a proper legitimate threat. Like they were before in the last wipe, but it was more just like, oh, if it's got buckshot and he hits you in the head, then you might die just instantly
Right.
out of nowhere, which is like kind of more frustrating in some ways. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
it's just like flip a coin, if
Right.
or like roll the dice. If you get a one, you die. Whereas now it's
Yeah.
kind of like that might happen, but you're also more likely to have like an interesting fight. Like if you shoot them, they run away.
Sure.
Like they seem to have those same mechanics, but sort of everything's just dialed up. I don't know exactly what they've done, But I'm quite enjoying the extra tension personally because like I'm being really careful. Like, if scouts around the corner and you just like run out into the street and there's no cover. Like I don't know, I'm just like I think it's combined with the inertia thing too, which it's like you run out into the street and no cover, you can get in some serious trouble and scabs will kill you, and it's good and it's good. But yeah, I think it's good that they've increased the difficulty of the rogues. I think not that I've played against them particularly, but like watching some of the guides that people have put out, I'm just like it's quite it'd be nice if they weren't just insta farmable like 3 days in or something.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the AI sometimes can be lackluster.
Yeah.
I recall a time when I'm in dorms and Rashala's guards are like walking up the stairs, but their backs are facing me, and it's just like, oh, free Rashala loot. Like it is just kind of weird. And I've
Yeah.
seen that with like the rogues. Like once you clear all the gunners and get into like this one building, you like either throw a grenade or like you shoot one and then they come running out one by one and you just like take them out. I don't know. It is what it is. But I was gonna say I haven't really had any crazy scav experiences besides sniper scav, but otherwise I haven't had any crazy experience. And I have a theory, and I can't prove it, and it's
Mhm.
probably definitely not the case. But I have seen other people have crazy experiences. Like literally, the scav shoots them twice and they're dead. Like they just stomach them with like buckshot. Like it's like insane stuff, right?
Right.
And I just wonder that if they are coded to recognize player A is wearing high level gear, enable hard mode scav. Like that's just a theory. I can't prove it. It's probably not the case. But me personally, I haven't had any crazy scavs, but I don't know.
What are you wearing into raid? I'm not like mega
See,
geared.
typically a P.A.K.A, but now that I have Flea unlock, I am running class 4 a lot more.
Okay,
But I
because
would
I've been
typically
running
just
class
P.A.K.A.
4 pretty much every raid. Just because like okay, so like for full disclosure, like I'm running my scav as hard as I physically can
Hmm.
to try and just like maximize stuff because I can do the scav runs way faster and I can do them in like tiny bursts and it's just like way easier for me to do. So I've been running my scav a lot and I ended up keeping like I keep like a float of like 5 or 6 level 4s because eventually you just get them either from picking
Yeah.
them up or from your scav or from other PMCs or whatever. So I've been running level 4 pretty much every time. Like sometimes I run level 3, but almost always I run level 4 now. And yeah, it's been wild. I had one raid on factory, which was like total bedlam. Like I'm not really sure like how to post it somewhere anywhere. Like it's one of those things. It's just like if I had a TikTok, it would go up there. Like it was crazy, dude. Honestly, it was crazy.
Do a YouTube short.
Maybe I'm really scared. I'm really scared of YouTube Shorts. That's a completely other topic, but I'm totally scared. Like I see people, like, I don't know. I just feel like I feel like they're dangerous. I don't trust it. I really don't trust it at all. Um, but anyway, no. Like if I don't know, it was mental, right? So like I chased after some dude. I think he had like nothing on, so he had like tagged and cursed or whatever, chased after him. He disappeared off somewhere else. Then there were some scavs. They chased after me. Then to like I was running through the main office area. Then like Tagilla's there. I like shoot him twice in the legs with like express buck out of the double barrel. And he doesn't die, and I run away, and then like 2 more scavs come running up the stairs. They chase me out of the hole in the wall at the end of the office corridor. They
Yeah.
chase me out of there, and I like sprint round into the like metal room bit. They all three come out of the thing. I'm trying to reload this double barrel shotgun, and I'm just like going double tap, click, click, double tap, click, click, double tap. None of them die, and I eventually just get peppered to death. And I was like, "What is going on?" And there was just like there were shots everywhere. Tagilla was running around killing people, dude. It was absolute. It was just mess. It was just a complete mess.
I love wipe day, loading on the customs, and in the first 2 minutes you hear gunshots from every part of the map. I love that, dude. That's my favorite thing. No one's got any suppressor, you just hear pop, pop, bang, 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 bang.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, no, it's been wild. It's been wild. I have been using the shotguns a little bit more. I covered them slightly in the video, but because they were kind of new, like I hadn't really used them that much. And after using them quite a bit more, I am enjoying them a lot. I really am. I'm enjoying them a lot. I don't know if you've used them. The revolver shotgun and the double barrel in particular are the ones that I'm referring to.
I've used the revolver one a little bit on the scav, but I haven't used the double barrel yet.
Okay, because like the revolver one, I actually kind of didn't realize when I did the video that you could change the fire mode, and it changes it from like single shot where so you've got like the revolver and then you on single shot you pull back the hammer and then you go bang and then you pull back the hammer and then you go bang. You change it over onto I think it's like is it I think it's also called double tap mode on that one anyway. But it's like I don't know what changes. I don't know how the gun functions really. Like I have no idea how it works in particular. I'm not sure even how on a normal revolver it's been, to be honest. I've never looked at the mechanism. But anyway, so like it starts forwards and you pull the trigger and it pulls the hammer back, hits and turns. So it's like this, it's like proper semi-auto, like the 153 or something,
Huh.
with five shots, which is kind of cool. Um, so like it's basically the
I didn't
earliest
know
like
that.
semi that you can get, which is sick. But it's only five shots, but that's kind of fine. The issue with it is like, and I can see why it took them so long to figure it out because the
Hmm.
mechanics of it are like super cool. But
Yeah.
if you reload, that's it. You're reloading, and it seems that the worst possible thing that you can do with this thing is reload after firing four out of the five. It's the absolute worst thing. That's it. You're just dead because you're like reloading forever. It takes ages because the mechanics are like lovingly completed. It's so good. If you fire one, it'll like flip and then reload. He'll like flip open the chamber thing with the
Hmm.
revolver thing. He'll pull out the round that's been fired and then insert a new one and click it back in, and that's it. You're good to go. If you fire four, it'll go one, two, three, four, and then one, two, three, four, and click it back in and go. But the thing is, if you fire all five, it just opens the spinny bit and
Hmm.
just like dumps the whole set out and then reloads five. And so it's actually way quicker because your PMC will like never waste a round, which I did. I thought that maybe if you reloaded, it would just empty them all out, good shells and bad shells, whatever. But that's not the case actually. He never wastes any. And so if you reload with four, you preserve that one shell in there at the expense of having to individually take the other four out before they get reloaded. So reloading four is way slower than reloading five, which is
Hmm.
kind of interesting. And I've had some
Like
very close calls reloading four by accident.
I assume I'm pretty sure you can tactical reload, right? Like just like if you do that hotkey, you'll just dump them all out. You'll
Oh, I don't
waste.
know actually. That's a very good point. That's actually a very good point. I didn't try. I didn't even try.
You should try. I think you can, but I'm not positive. Like I said, I only
Okay.
played it once.
Okay, I'll have to try. I'll have to rebind that because as I said, like a couple of podcasts ago, I completely unbanned that key. I never use it,
Hmm.
so I'll have to give that a go. I don't know. The double barrel is also really fun. The double barrel is like 8K, eight and a half
Yes.
K. So good, right? So it's basically like the replacement for the PM or the TOS or whatever. Because
Hmm.
like even
Hmm.
the M9 is like 15K or something. So the proper Western pistols are much more expensive, like
Yeah.
double the price. And I was having a chat about it in my Discord actually as well with people. And I've been playing around with the double barrel, and that also has single shot, which fires each barrel one at a time, or
Right.
also double tap. Right, double tap on the double barrel fires both barrels simultaneously. It's insane. It's actually insane. Like it technically has more damage output than the KS with Shrap 10 for one individual shot. For one
Yeah.
individual shot. Because
I
you
mean
can
at
load Magnum Buck into both barrels
right.
and then fire them both simultaneously. Which is
At
which is crazy. Or you can load like AP20 slugs and fire
yeah.
two at once, right? Like the possibilities are endless. I've been using it with Express Buck because it's like the
Hmm.
the fastest
Hmm.
one that I've been able to get, and just like leaning around the corner and just like firing like 18 pellets at somebody's face is just like so funny. But yeah, people in Discord were talking about it, saying, "Oh, can you get like a sawn-off version or whatever as well?" And I was like, "Oh no, I don't think so." And I went into the preset thing, and you can get a shorter barrel. I didn't realize you can like get a shorter barrel, and it's from Jaeger, and it's like 3K, but you sell the old one for 2K, so it's like 1K. You can upgrade it to like a short version instead, which in my experience so far is actually less useful. But
I
it's
would
funny,
imagine.
and it's shorter. It works better around in close quarters or whatever.
Sure.
But yeah, even with the regular one, I was doing plant the iskras and the waters in woods, and I
Hmm.
was inside, and someone else came in to do it afterwards, and they came down the stairs and just double tapped them in the legs with the express buck, and they just instantly died.
Yeah.
So it's like the one shot KS, and I've been having a lot of fun with that, and that's also got nice mechanics. Pull it up and out they come, in they go. Like I love the way it feels. It's super neat. But yeah, the only thing I'll say about it was like, yeah, we were speculating again in the Discord, or somebody was talking about like, oh, what happens if you did like flechette and then you had like a rip slug or something afterwards to like bust their armor and then
Yeah, that's
just
interesting.
yeah, and then destroy it. And I was like, oh, you've got me thinking now. So I was like having a look through the different rounds. I was like, well, the problem here is that the flechette is actually the slowest round. So if your rip slug's actually going to hit them first, and then the flechette will hit them
Oh,
afterwards.
yeah, that's
But
crazy.
I was like, you could do like maybe you could do something like express buck first. I mean, problem is none of them do enough armor damage. But maybe
Right.
if you did like express buck and then you do like some one of the other shell. I can't remember which other shell it was, but any of the other shells. But I don't know because AP20 is like really fast actually, which is kind
Hmm.
of a shame. But and that's why yeah, that's why I was just like, well, maybe maybe you just do two AP20s at the same time, just see what happens.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But dude, honestly, it's like it's fun. I've been enjoying looking into the mechanics of those. It's pretty cool. And I've yeah, that's been great. That's been good.
Yeah, I like that they added those guns. I mean, like you said, you can see why it took them so long to get them working properly because they're very intricate um, animations and firing modes and reloading cycles and whatnot. I
Exactly.
I am curious. Um, Two things. One, have you? I've been hearing that a lot of people have been not a lot, but different people like Deadly Slav has said like he thinks shotguns are bugged, like either the damage or people's hitboxes, like something weird is going on.
Mhm.
And I've seen people just take pellets to the face and like be fine. I don't know. It's kind of weird. The other thing I was gonna say, well, one thing at a time. Let's go with that.
Okay.
What do you?
Yeah, the raid with the tequila craziness on factory, exactly
Hmm.
that, right? As I said, three sets of double tap express at three scavs, like all on top of each other, and I literally could not kill them. I've had really strange moments where I've been
Hmm.
shooting at scavs with the revolver shotgun, and they take like 3 to 4 shots to die, and it's like I can't like sometimes it seems to work just fine and sometimes it's like are the pellets not going where I think they're going, are they going into like
Sure.
into the armor or something. I don't know like but I've also had some strange moments where I'm just like, okay, this is like the third shell and I'm amazed that he's not dead. um so I don't know, I can see that there might be something happening
Okay.
especially with scavs in particular, and shotguns, because I have noticed this, but I don't know exactly what's up.
Yeah.
And it also might just be, yeah, I'm using like really crappy shotguns, so the spread on those things might be huge. I haven't really done extensive testing as to how big that might be.
Yeah.
Um, and we know for a fact, like maybe scavs have been buffed. We know for a fact that some scavs have 40 HP,
Right.
and maybe
Right.
they've changed all scavs to have 40 HP. I don't know. And so you then one pellet is not enough,
Right.
and usually you're used to hitting them with one pellet because of the typical spread or whatever, and like you hit them with one pellet out of the grouping and then it doesn't kill them, and you're like, oh, this is super weird, even though it looks like they hit because it did hit. I don't know. I don't actually know. But yeah, I have experienced that sometimes, and sometimes it seems fine. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bug, and I don't really know. It's just like I don't even really know how to test it particularly than just like wandering around just trying to shoot scavs. But whenever I do, it usually seems to work. It's just like some strange moments where it's not working properly.
Yeah. For those wondering, the 40 HP Giga was referring to is there are like scavs coded in the game and they're listed as like hard scavs or something, and they just have essentially more HP, like slightly more, like 40 head HP compared to 35. Um, yeah, there seems like to be a lot of variables that could be at play, but some extensive testing to get to the bottom of
Yeah.
it would be interesting because I really like how they're sort of setting it up where, you have these shotguns at level one. Like double barrel, I think is a great example. It's dirt cheap, 8K. All right. You were sort of alluding to it. The budget KS23. I mean, come on now. We all knew this was coming, dude, when we were theory crafting about it last week's episode. I kind of feel like, I mean, I was gonna say you trade, I assume accuracy from the KS23 to, more damage on the double barrel potentially. You also trade, pump action versus like reloading after two shots. I don't know. It's interesting. I want to try the double barrel now. I might have to do some shenanigans and see. But I like that they're they're adding more guns, but specifically this sort of gives your level ones a tool, a very good situational tool. It's not going to be amazing in all situations, but potentially, extract camping somewhere in the bush. No, I'm kidding. But anyway.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. I think the fun thing about it is it's like a legitimate sidearm that you can take with you. There was a couple of budget runs that I did on woods just to try and complete some scav quests, and I
Hmm.
had it. Honestly, it was just like the dirtiest like rat kit possible. It was there's like VPO 205 with a Pilad scope on it and a double barrel in the other slot, which is what I was running. I was like, this is like the dirtiest thing ever. It's like point blank with double expresses in, and then well, what was I using? Like, is it EKO? I can't remember which one's the good
Probably.
one.
The
EKO in this in this VPO. I was like, this
Yeah.
is just so. This is honestly, this is so crazy that you're looking through the scope, you can like hardly see anything because it's so awful, and then you're like, right, let me rip up the double barrel because someone's coming. And then actually, the recently I was running kind of like a combo double sidearm thing where because I was completing some stuff on customs, but like it seems to just be working quite well. I don't know. I'm actually enjoying the double barrel too after realizing about like the semi-autoness of it, and I was running like that and an M9 at the same time, and so it's like anyone who's like close-ish, I'll use that, and then I use the M9 for like medium distance shots, and that's actually worked quite well. So you're killing scavs at medium range. I'm not fighting that many PMCs to be fair, but I
Hmm.
use the double barrel if necessary for that. Um, scavs are quite funny. There's like a couple of places that I like sit on customs because usually I go in and I let it die down a little bit, or whatever, and then go off and do whatever I need to do. And I like sniped a scav with the pistols at the beginning, and then I was just kind of like I was actually just literally doing something else, and then I could hear some footsteps, and I was like, oh gosh! And the scav came like right up to me, and its foot like bumped into my head, and then it was like, oh, where's your? And I was like, oh, with the M9 like from the ground, like I can't look up enough. I just like killed this guy with like 12 shots out of the pistol or something. Just like, oh my God. And then another one came and did exactly the same thing. So they're much more attracted to sounds and stuff. Even if they don't, if you're prone and you don't move, they actually can't see you. If they're not aggroed onto you, they genuinely can't see you until they like literally bump into you, which is
Hmm.
kind of weird. But they're yeah much more aggressive about like searching out sounds and stuff. But yeah, like that was kind of fun. It's just like super budget, like both budget weapons. Um, and then yeah, it just kind of leaves you a lot of room to replace over with anything that you find really. It's
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. Actually, there was one thing that I wanted to touch on
Yeah.
just before we like skip on to something else because we were talking about Lighthouse before, and there's obviously a lot to talk about with that map, but I think a lot of its secrets will probably be unveiled over the next kind of like month or two as people like
Yeah.
explore it and stuff. There's like mostly obvious stuff that's come out about it at the moment. But I've been trying to because I think last time we talked about like the map layout and stuff. I've been trying to like speculate as to like exactly where it fits in. I mean, it's obvious to see it when you just stick it on a map, but
Hmm.
it's quite it's a little bit. I never thought that it would be. So if you think about shoreline or whatever with like the resorts in the north and the seas in the south, and then you've got Lighthouse, which is on the west side. I never really thought that the map would be like vertical orientation like that, which is funny. It's like the maps that I think that have come
Right.
out typically are. I think the one that's on the wiki anyway, the one that's kind of come out with the nicest sort of look to it, is
Hmm.
actually east is north on the map, which is weird. It's like they've made it landscape, but the top of the map is east. So um, it's a bit strange. You have to like twist it around because
Hmm.
I thought that it would be like the same as Shoreline with the
It just
lighthouse at the
extends
end.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like
It
the same as
curves.
Shoreline bit is like, yeah, it's very much the bottom of the map, which is very short, and the lighthouse is right at the end, and then the map actually is the road goes vertically north instead, which is interesting. And yeah, so that's why I was in Tarkov in offline mode, wandering around a minute ago, and I went to go to Shoreline because Shoreline has had two new extracts, which I didn't really. I knew that Shoreline had kind of changed, but I hadn't gone and looked
Hmm.
myself. And I haven't spawned on the tunnel side yet, so I don't know what the other extract is called. Um, I can't remember what it's called. So people were talking about it though, but I was more interested in the other one to see where Shoreline and Lighthouse intersect, which is the road to Shoreline extract, which is cool. And if you're at the swamp, you go to the edge of the swamp. There's like the wall's been knocked down there, and I've been on Shoreline looking, sorry, Lighthouse looking back into Shoreline too. So it's that same kind of like swampy building kind of. territory on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Lighthouse side, and you're kind of like, oh, this looks a bit like shoreline, and then yeah, there's an extract there, which is quite cool, and that's sort of in the middle of the map. And so if you like place that there, what I wanted to do, um, I haven't actually gone all the way up yet. Because I tried once and then sort of got lost and then got distracted and I went to go do something else. But I want to go and see like if you can see that much of reserve
Hmm.
from inside Lighthouse because I haven't checked and like how far it stretches up. Like you might you might even be able to see. I don't know. I think it's probably too far, but I was speculating that you might be able to even see like part of customs if you get high enough. It depends on how high the mountain is, and I think it's probably quite high. But yeah, I'm just trying to like fit it on the map and get an idea of like exactly where it is because it's just neat to sort of see how those things work out. I think like one of the most interesting landmarks on the new map is this is that huge
That,
suspension bridge in the background
yeah,
which is broken, right? And you can see that now from shoreline in the distance, which I don't think was ever there before. And so you can kind
right.
of get a bit of an orientation, which is neat. And I want to go to reserve and I want to see if it's visible there. There's like lots of stuff I want to do to try and check it out because like I went to check all this stuff out before the patch dropped on reserve and on shoreline to see if I could see anything, if there's any teasers and stuff, but there weren't. So now they may have updated that. I don't know if reserves had any changes, but anyway, we shall see. I think you probably should technically be able to see it from Dome though. So I need to have a look.
It would
I
make
need to have a look at that.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. So I was still investigating that, but it's neat.
Funny story. I was, started a wipe doing my lighthouse runs, and so I'm loading in on my PMC. It's like my third raid. And I loaded in and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm at some cabins and I'm looking around, I'm looting, I'm like, this is kind of a disappointment. Looks like they just copy pasted some of the cabins from Shoreline. So I'm wandering around. I'm like, oh my god, they copy pasted the power lines too. And then I go up to the power lines and I see the fields where it's saying target spawn. I'm like, oh my god, they cop. Oh my god, I check my extracts. I'm in Shoreline. So I clicked the wrong map. I had to play a Shoreline raid. I was, it was too funny, dude.
That's so good. That's so
Yeah.
good. That's even worse than me losing my extracts. Honestly, I've lost my extract the other day. I was like, how does this happen to me all the time? I'm just not really paying attention. I'm too busy talking to chat and stuff, and then I forget exactly which extract I started at. It's usually when I double back, but I don't think I've ever clicked the wrong map. That's pretty funny.
So, jumping back to guns real quick, I
Yep.
I do want to talk about the recoil changes because as we know, the recoil has been
Hmm.
changed, which I was not expecting to come in this patch, and that
Yeah,
I'm
same.
curious to see how your experience has been. But I did want to talk just a little bit about some of the new toys, the Scar L and the Scar H. So I was looking at because I got Peacekeeper 2 and he sells the Scar L, which is the 556 by 45 variant. And I was looking at the stats at it, and from what I could tell from like inspecting everything, trying all the different stuff, it didn't seem like it was going to be that good. Like
Mm.
maybe it would be better than an M4, but because the fire rate is 650, it just seems like it'd be better running a 556 by 45 MDR. It just has higher ergo and relatively, if I think even stock, it has lower recoil. Like it just didn't really add up. Maybe if you like
Sure.
suppressed it versus the MDR, and I don't know, it's kind of weird. So
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would say about that, just to jump in,
yeah,
is we've talked before about the way that recoil works in the game, right,
hmm
which is
hmm
weird, and I don't know what stocks are available for the Scar. Kind of, I feel like maybe the Scar stock is just the Scar stock. I don't think there's much
yeah,
you can do
you're
about it as far
correct.
as I'm concerned. Okay. But it has one and it can be taken off, which means it can become meta, which is different to the MDR, right? Because it has a much higher base recoil. So suppressors do a lot more for the Scar than they do for the MDR for that reason. So that's why I think it might be able to um, you know punch alongside the M4 potentially, but without having the stocks. I didn't actually look and see what the recoil reduction is on that or what the base is. So actually, I'm not sure if I've seen a Scar L. To be fair, I did find a Scar H in a box though, so I have one of those in my inventory, which is kind of neat, and I've been messing around with that a little bit. But yes, please go on. I'm not sure what we'll see yet.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember the specifics, but my general consensus was just buy a NDR. It didn't seem like the Scar was going to be like, it seemed like you had to heavily mod it.
Mm.
And the only thing you could really do was like a rail that gave you 5 ergo, um, a grip, right? I mean, not the pistol grip, but I mean, I guess technically a pistol grip, but the forward grip, and then a muzzle of some type, or a suppress one, just like you'd throw on an M4. But it didn't really seem that great overall. Like I can't remember the numbers, but I just kind of, from my point of view, it just seemed like it'd be better by an MDR, which they change that. But we'll get that's another topic. Anyways, um, I will say the Scar H though does seem very good. I was watching. I've been watching a lot of Trey 24K while
He's good.
working, and watching some of his videos and the recoil. It looks like the foul, the old foul, sort of. Like it has
Okay, yeah.
similar stats, so it looks pretty good. It might be a meta gun. So if you find that and it's sitting in your stash, a good one. It's bringing out for that real juicy raid. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
So like I don't really want to take it out yet because I have Scar H, I
Mhm.
have one magazine,
Yes,
um,
that's right.
and that's it basically. So
Yeah.
like the most modded one I can make is I found a better muzzle, but it's one of the standalone ones without suppressor. So it's like
Hmm.
7% rather than 4% or something from the
Right.
default one.
Right.
Yeah, one mag of 20. I have like a stack of M80s, and I have like the tac, uh, like 1x4 or 6 or whatever it is.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
and I'm just like, I don't really want to take this. Like, I have to
Yeah.
manually
Yeah.
reload one magazine. This is not really ideal.
It's pretty rough.
Need to find another one, but it looks sick though. It looks super cool. The mag's like the half and half painted thing because it's like part of
Yeah.
it like is in the weapon. It looks neat. Someone actually, Rick said, so the Scar's a support weapon. It's meant for extended fire, so maybe it has better stats for overheating and other failures, which is an interesting comment because I've actually been doing a lot of looking into like the failure stuff. But I guess
Yeah.
like maybe let me talk. I'm not sure where to start. There's so much to talk about.
I know.
Maybe we just talk about that now. Like, I don't know the recoil thing. I guess we should finish off talking about recoil first before we move on to that.
Sure.
Because I think that's where you kind of like started. It's quite interesting how it's been done. I wasn't expecting it in this patch either, but it's weird. It's not how I thought because it says I think in the patch notes it says something like, the automatic compensation has been reduced for
Hmm.
full auto, something along those lines. But I tested a bit, and to be fair, I was testing it with like 762 stock AKMS.
Yeah.
But it's like I don't feel like the mechanic has really changed particularly. The I was thinking that it wouldn't settle and that it would continue to climb and require the user to pull down a little bit. That doesn't seem to be the way it functions. As far as I can tell, you hold the trigger down, the system works exactly the way it used to, where it moves up and then moves back down again with the automatic compensation, except it's now just like
It's
extraordinarily
been.
violent within the
Yeah.
first set of shots, especially with something like the AKMS, which was never there was never a laser beam, even in the old
Right.
patch, right?
Right.
And but now it's just like, wild into the air, down a bit, and then rather than stabilizing properly, it does stabilize around a central average, but like it shakes violently while you're trying to do it. But you
Huh.
don't have to I don't feel like you have to actually control it anymore. It's just less controllable. But again, maybe that's just because it was the AKMS. I'm not sure. But it just seems like all of the recoil was just amped up. I'm not really sure if the automatic compensation has been decreased. It seems kind of strange. I'm really not sure what to make of it. I was trying it with the PPSH as well, with the big drum on it. I don't know whether this has always done this, by the way, but the PPSH with the drum pulls violently to the left. I'm not a big PPSH user, so I don't know. But with the drum, it's just like, it's very consistent. Every time it
Hmm.
pulls up violently to the left-hand side, like it goes and shoots like this in a big horizontal, like diagonal line, and then stabilizes, but still like shakes around a bunch. So I really am not sure. Like it feels maybe like the horizontal recoil gets like, you fire in full auto and it goes through its pattern, and then the horizontal recoil just goes and just gets turned up as you're going along. It's just like proper
Yeah.
flipping from side to side. It's pretty insane. That's my take anyway. It seems odd. It's not quite how I thought they'd implement it.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I've experienced. I was talking a little bit before we started recording with chat, and it's I was using a lot of the PP19 because I went bear this wipe,
Mhm.
and I just felt like in general that single tapping, going for precision shots was like I just felt like I had more success just holding mouse one, you know?
Yeah.
And to me that sort of indicates that potentially um the system's the same, it's just everything's been cranked up. So I don't know. I because I would based off what you said about the patch notes, I didn't read it word for word, but it seems like it may like I would be inclined to think that single tapping would be better, and I feel as though it's the same system. I don't know how else to describe it. So it's like
Yeah.
it just to me feels like full autoing is still the way to go. It's just there's way more recoil to deal with. And kind of the downside of that is like random horizontal recoil is like really not favorable because you can't really account for it. If it has a set pattern, then you can, but if you can't, then it's like, do I spray and pray or do I go for precision shots? And it's I don't know. It's a it's a weird state because I can totally see precision shots being really valuable, but at the same time, if that initial burst is going to be just pull down. I don't know. I feel like I need more time to really come up with a good opinion on it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it says adjusted the recoil mechanics when shooting, reduced the automatic recoil compensation when firing long bursts, decreased the recoil reduction bonuses from skills, general refinements and improvements in the weapon recoil system is what it says word for word. Now, decreasing recoil reduction bonuses from skills, fine with that. General
Sure.
refinements and improvements to the weapon recoil system, fine with that. Reduce the automatic recoil compensation when firing long bursts, like, it's okay. Um, it's okay. I think the issue is that the first set of shots are still really, really violent.
Yeah, yeah.
And I
You
wish that they'd done something to smooth that a little bit where it ramps up, so that you get like two or three shots which are kind of there. Maybe the first shot, maybe the second one, and the third one might be like a little bit high or whatever. But yeah, when you look at the spray pattern again, it's just bam, 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 and then back down, and then yeah, super violent horizontal. Like it's fine. I found like, and this is kind of mixed in with other issues, right? I found that the beginning of the wipes really weird with this new recoil. It's very strange because like I really love the MP5. I ended up going USEC like I
yes.
usually do. And I've fallen out with the MP5. We are no longer friends. You know that meme with the, no longer friends with the
Yes,
MP5.
yes. Because the recoil, right?
Because the recoil, and because the recoil is not high, but
Mhm.
it's not low. It's like it's controllable, but it's fine. But the issue is that you're making the thing about so the thing about the MP5 was that you used to make a conscious trade-off to run or to fire 9mm PST
Right,
rather than 7.62 PS, right?
right.
Really, that's the decision you're making
Yeah,
because the default weapon of choice normally is the SKS because it's so cheap and it fires 7.62 PS.
right,
It's just the best. It's just the best round early wipe. But the problem is the guns that it goes in kick like an absolute mule.
right,
And so if you want to be like single tapping, the SKS is really good. If you want to be going full auto, you can choose all sorts of other guns. And the MP5 used to be my go-to because it was like, well, the recoil is super low, which means that I can more accurately spray at people's heads and I'll kill them
right.
with the spray. The problem that I have now is that the recoil is slightly too high, which means that me personally, I mean, maybe other players find it easier if they're better, if you're a better shot and you're better at just like
Mhm.
aiming in general. Maybe they find it easy, but I don't. I'm finding it now that it's like I now am not getting the headshot before I die. And the problem, which I've spoken about before, which I really dislike about the early game, is level 4 armor is still way too prevalent. It's everywhere, and PST really struggles with level 4. So if you don't hit them in the head, you die.
Yeah,
Because so many people are wearing level 4, right? They give away troopers at the start. Scavs wear level 4, which I don't really think they should, because it means that you're able to like farm them, or at least maybe they should be like half damaged or something. I don't think they should have like full health level 4s. Less so about killing the scavs. Like I'm actually not bothered about the scavs themselves having it. I just don't like every PMC under the sun having it from the start because, and as I said, I've spoken about this before, but you've got level 2 armor, level 3, level 4, level 5, level 6. Tarkov has 3 levels of armor, 4, 5, and 6 is it. No one uses level 2 after day 1 after the packers are gone. And level
Hmm.
3, as soon as either you get to Ragman 2 or you have enough in your stash just to use
Right.
those ones, or you're just like pistol running. Like there's no one who's running any sort of medium loadout ever uses level 3 or 2. There's no
Hmm.
need, and it guts the MP5. And with the new recoil system, I really don't like it. So I've fallen out of the MP5, and so much so I actually sold them all. I've sold them all, and I'm not using them anymore, which is
Dang.
kind of sad because I really like them, but I just don't think the recoil system works with it. And yeah, I think it's a combination of things, and I think that's just it's tricky.
I think, yeah, I've used the MP5 once, and I feel like it has a similar issue with the PP19. Now, I used the MP5 without an optic, and with the PP19, I've been using this new optic that's really cheap. It's actually kind of cool. It's 5,000 rubles.
Hmm.
It's a has a dovetail rail on it. The sight itself, the reticle is like really clean,
Okay.
but the picture, like the housing of the site, is kind of big and a
Yeah.
bit obtrusive. But the issue I've been noticing is when I take a single shot at something, I instantly lose picture of my target because the gun goes up so much you can't
Hmm.
see what you're shooting at anymore. And I feel like I had the same issue with the MP5 iron sights. Like I just can't see what I'm shooting at, and so that's why
Yeah.
I've like my opinion is that I've just had better success spraying, holding down mouse one, and hopefully they die at some point. I don't know. I need more time to really come up with a good
Yeah. I
consensus.
think that's kind of the issue with a lot of this stuff at the start because it's like, well, if you're running ammo that needs to hit somebody in the head with, you're aiming at their head as soon as you fire, they're gone. Right? Whereas when you're firing, I think that's one of the big advantages about shooting. If you're an average player, if you're firing at somebody's thorax, you
Right.
see their thorax disappear and their head's there, and then it comes back and their head comes back in, right? You can keep yourself on target. Whereas if you're
Yeah.
firing at someone's head, I find this sometimes with the pistols. If you're aiming like and you fire and then they're gone, right? And then there they are,
Yeah.
which is kind of tricky. But yeah, and I think that's the thing about the MP5, right? It's just like with some of its advantages kind of removed with these new systems, it's very difficult to put a scope on. Like the rail's completely sold out from Peacekeeper all the time. Like you have to buy the thing separately. Like you can't put a dovetail on it. It's just like, the mags are actually not even that cheap. And there's like lots of things
Yeah.
go against it. There was given that we're on the topic of weapons and SMGs and stuff, somebody posted and I can't remember who it was, but someone posted on my weapons video about the UMP because the UMP is the new Peacekeeper trade. Well, I think it was there before, but new for this wipe anyway. New for the 7 of those grey handled knives or the black handled knives,
Yes.
whatever you want to call
Yes.
it, which are quite rare. They're not that easy to find. But and what was pointed out to me, which I did not realize, and given I'm in game, I can go and look at it right this moment, is that if you go to Fence and you go to like the melee weapons section, he sells those knives because lots of people sell them to him. And if you
Uh,
look at how many there are, like right now, he has 469 in stock. So you can just buy 7 and they cost 4,600. So for like 28k, you can just buy the UMP, and
that's
you can put a vertical grip on it because it's
you're
got
right.
a rail,
Huh.
and you can put a scope on it because it's got a scope rail on top. You
Yep.
don't need to buy anything separately, so you can put whichever one you want on, and the mags are actually much cheaper than the MP5 as well. And then you can run ACP match, which does like a crap load of damage. It's
Yeah.
better pen than PSD. I was like, okay, and it's got a lower fire rate, which means that the recoil feels better.
Right.
It's like more comparable to what the way the MP5 used to be, because like the MP5 actually with the current recoil now, it's 800 RPM actually works against it. It's like the stock M4. The high fire rate actually works against it. You probably don't want to be running those guns. It's like I was looking at my stash, just like, damn, the 2 guns I get for going USEC, the stock M4 at like 90 recoil or something, and the MP5 at like 55 recoil, both at 800 RPM. They both just feel like crap,
Yeah.
and it sucks. So that's a cool trick that somebody posted in a
That
few
is
different.
cool.
I've seen it a few places actually, which is kind of neat. So you can buy those knives and get the UMP and kill people with that, which is nice. I've had mixed results with the UMP. It's okay, but I think it's like it's much. Well, I think maybe that's me. It's a me thing. rather than the gun thing. It's very good technically on paper. So
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm gonna try it with the suppressor. I think I just gotta get a level 3 peacekeeper for the attachment, the
mm,
adapter, or no, level 2 mechanic. So are you saying MP5 no longer friends, UMP is new friend?
new friends. Yeah,
Funny.
yeah,
All right.
exactly.
Let's move on to the next topic because we got a lot
Yeah.
to go through here. Did you want to talk about the jammings?
Yes,
All the
actually,
gems?
that's
Yeah,
probably
let's hit it.
the next best thing. So I am going to that's my next video.
Oh, cool.
Um, as an early preview. So some of that will be what I'm going to talk about here. But I've been looking into it a lot because it's interesting and new. I haven't seen anybody
Yeah.
put anything out about it yet. People kind of know how the system works, but I've gone and looked at it properly and just tried to figure it out the way that I see it. And I think it's neat, man. I don't know how much you've like looked into the details, but there's like it's quite well documented in the patch notes. Interestingly,
Yeah.
they put a lot of info in there. But like really, there's kind of like there's two sort of overall branches to what they've done, like the two changes they've made. There's like a weapon malfunctions themselves, where before we just had misfire, like the rounds are dud and didn't work.
Right.
And it does like it's interesting how it says that what affects that, which is like the round itself and like the I think it's just the round itself.
Think
Because
mm,
it used to be the weapons durability and the round. Now I was like wondering whether they've like moved the weapons durability over to these other new ones, because the round misfire is actually not really a weapons durability
right.
thing. I guess it could be. I guess maybe like the hammer could be wrong or something. But I'm not enough of an expert to know. Um, but either which way, right? So the new stuff is, I mean, it doesn't really matter to the user particularly, except for kind of the technical details of like why they may occur. But we've now got like failure to eject, failure to feed, and then just like bolt jams. So failure to eject, the cartridge gets stuck on its way out. Failure to
Mm-hmm.
feed, the cartridge gets stuck on its way in. Jammed bolt, something bad has happened, and the whole gun just jams up. Um, and then the other branch that you've got is the overheating, the heating and cooling element to it, which is they like feed into each other because like overheating
Right.
causes jams, along other things. But the overheating and like cooling mechanics is also pretty neat, and you do have to fire quite a lot to cause those issues. But this has really like cranked the durability system up a lot, which I think is good.
Yeah.
That was necessary because it wasn't really a consideration in the last batch. It was just again, it was just randomly. Sometimes people would just their gun would stop working and it was annoying. And that was
Mm-hmm.
pretty much it. And now it's more like you might actually have to take care of your weapon and stuff. So yeah, like the two things are pretty neat. I mean, they just like moving back to the malfunctions for a second, like outside of overheating, like failure to feed now actually is a stat on mags themselves. If you look at the mags,
I
there's now a
noticed this.
statistic. Exactly. So there's a statistic on the mag. There's also a statistic on the round.
Yep.
So some rounds have a higher failure to feed chance than others, and magazines have drum mags have a higher failure to feed chance. Yeah, this is the way that VSG
Mm-hmm.
is finally putting in that kind of nerf onto the big mags and the way that they feed in, and you're running the risk of jamming. And people have said like they are notoriously bad at jamming in real life. Not that that's any good reason to put it in, but it's one of those
True.
like perfect scenarios I've talked about in the past where it's like it's doing the thing that they want to do the nerf in game to try to stop people
Right.
from using it, or give people something to think about when they're
Yeah,
using
yeah.
it. And it also mirrors in real life, which is like that's perfect. It's
Yeah.
game first, but if it also just so happens to mirror real life as well, then that's like extra double points.
Yeah.
And then yeah, so that, like failure to eject is basically just like the condition of the weapon and the overheatingness, and the same, pretty much the same thing with the jammed bolt. But what really interested me was that pretty much every single part now has a heating and a cooling stat. Almost everything. There's so many things. It's like the barrel, the handguards, like the muzzle, the gas blocks, like there's and
Yeah.
the whole upper actually has like heating and cooling. So I'm really interested to see once I unlock the flea, which is very like is in about half a level, what's available, what has what stats on it, and the thing is like I don't know what the meta guns will look like in terms of heating and cooling, and whether they'll
Right.
like jam up after like a couple of raids or something, or whether like people will start to use weapons that have got a better heating and cooling rate to allow, it may not be meta, but you can fire 6 mags out of it. It won't blow up. I don't know. Like it'll
Yeah,
be
it's
interesting to see.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, it's
because
fascinating.
I could totally see, I don't think it's the case, but I could totally see a meta where you could build a, highly resistant to malfunction gun. Like it has all the highest cooling stats, the lowest heating stats,
Yeah,
like the best mags for, the best ammo to not jam, the best mags to not jam. I could totally see that. And that'd be pretty interesting. Like you could almost play like some sort of like weird support-ish role, but you don't have like the rounds, the mags to like the high capacity mags to like suppress. I don't. It's pretty interesting, but I also can see, and this is kind of what I think. This is just my prediction is the likely meta of you just repairing your gun twice, and then once it drops below 93%, then you buy a new gun, and then just move all the parts over, and then you
yeah,
go again. So I don't know. It's because I've intentionally repaired my gun, after like every other raid and repair my mechanic. Like I got my SR25 and it's at 99.99. Like I got the lucky roll and I got the high durability repair. And yeah, as soon as that thing drops to like 93%, I'm I'm ditching it and getting a new one too. 'Cause I do not want to deal with any type of jams of any sort.
yeah. I think it's interesting that because it means that some guns are going to be way better than others on in that sense because things like I don't know, I feel like they've all the things that they've done are interesting and like fun, sort of standalone,
Yeah,
but the net effect of all of this stuff is always you never quite know how it's going to, or I don't think PSG quite knows how it's going to work out. And I feel like
right.
maybe they've made the M4 even better than it always was, and it was already a top tier, right?
Really.
And so because now it's like, well, it's one of the things you can buy the lower for, and it's like all the parts move over. Like some guns are not as easy to buy in that way. Um, I don't actually know when you get that lower. I'm assuming it's still a mechanic too, but maybe not. Maybe you have to do a quest or something. I don't know. But this is the thing, if you want to get a new AKM or whatever, you have to buy like the proper, the lower for that. I don't know whether you can even buy the lower for the AKM, but like you know what I mean, right? It's not available for every weapon. Some weapons you have to buy a whole new one at like
Right.
100%. It's
Okay.
not
Yeah,
as
yeah,
easy just to
yeah.
like grab a new,
A
whatever
cheap lower.
to like put everything over.
Yeah,
Whereas
I
like the
get you.
M4, you can just it's just there you go. It's like 19,000 or whatever, and you just like move everything and
Yeah.
bam, you've got a whole new one. Um, so I don't know, but I feel like that plus the fact that there's so many mods, it's like you just have more choice, and there's going to be some combination of things that are going to be better than others. Like around my prediction, like it's actually slightly unfortunate in some ways, I think, but my prediction is that the overheating weapons malfunctions and like heating and cooling mechanics probably won't change the meta at all. Is my prediction. I don't know, and
Right.
I'd like it to. I'd like it to because I
Yeah.
like more choices, right? I'd like some guns that are more reliable and but like not as
Yeah.
like meta in terms of like the traditional meta with the pen and stuff.
Right.
But I just don't think it's going to happen. But we'll see. We're just going to have to see. There was one
Yeah.
interesting thing that somebody brought up, which
Mhm.
is actually going to be in my thing as well, and I have seen it a few other places. I think Clean put out, so it's fairly widely popularized at this point, which is the one key to clear the jam, which is exactly the same thing as in my hotkeys video about meds, where you can do the light bleed, heavy bleed on one key. It's the same
Yes.
thing. So if you do it in the right order, you basically press to inspect, and it's release to clear. And you can either do it like press and hold it, and then like let go to clear, or you can just press it, and then when it inspects it, then you just press it again, and the release activates and it clears it. If there's no jam, the default action is to check chamber. And yeah, the one thing you actually lose out on is the like look at my gun, it's super cool. I'm
Mhm.
recording my screen for a YouTube video. That button, that one you kind of lose because that's combined with one of the other buttons. But you can separate that and put it onto another button if you really choose to do so. But that's easier because then you just press the one thing, just hammer the one button, and fix everything. Um,
Now
which is which is kind of neat.
does that work? Because I've seen that too, but I haven't had a jam, so I haven't had a chance to do it. Do you know if that works or not?
Yes, because I've tested it extensively.
Okay.
So I had a 50%. Um, I think it was a. What actually was it? Oh, it was a 10. It was one of the 545 AKs anyway. So I had a 50% one of those, and I tested that to oblivion like 20 times in factory, and
Hmm.
looked at all the jams, figured out the buttons for them, got the overheating going. Like it's pretty crazy. The thing about overheating, like if you really go like mad with the gun,
Yeah.
the thing that's the most mental about overheating is that um, basically there's four stages, right? There's like the barrel's kind of hot, and there's like a heat haze, which you can sort of see if you're ADSing. Then it's like the barrel's red hot. And once
Hmm.
the barrel's red hot, when you fire, you lose maximum durability off the gun.
Interesting.
So I
Okay.
did two tests. This is going to be again. This is going to be in the video, so I'm kind of like spoiling it all.
Yeah.
But whatever. It's going to be in the thing. I did two tests with the ADAR because I wanted to try it with M855 because it's got like kind of high heating thing, and it actually made it easier
Hmm.
to do the barrel thing. But anyway, so I fired like 10 mags of M855 out of the ADAR, rip my index finger. And one of them I did it like as fast as I physically could. And the other one I just did like slow, just click, click,
Hmm.
click, like never overheating it. And the first one ended up at like 73.9 out of 74 or something. And the second one ended up at 85 out of 100.
That's very interesting. I didn't realize it took it off the max durability.
Yeah, so
That's a pretty
when the
big.
barrel's red hot, the max durability starts to erode, which is I think the biggest thing about it because it's just like, yeah,
Yes.
you really screw the gun up, and you fire like, I mean, say you don't even take that example, but say you've like people typically bring like five, six mags if they're going like full, full sweaty Chad Lord or
Hmm.
something. Like your
Hmm.
gun's going to be like 85 durability by the time you finish that raid.
Huh. That's actually really interesting. I yeah, that's really interesting. I'm really looking forward to the video because I haven't looked into it a lot, but I noticed all the like they went balls to the walls with it. Like I
Yeah,
really appreciate them putting, you know, high feeding. Like I really appreciate them putting the stats in there, even
yeah,
though it's not like super in depth. It's just enough that I have a basic understanding.
exactly.
And there's
It's like
like
even the rounds too that has says the heating stat
yes,
on it and stuff.
and there's so much potential for them to tweak the system to make it more meaningful, more choices. Like it's very exciting, and it may not need any changes for all we know. It just may need some time for things to develop.
Yeah.
Was there anything else you want to talk about in regards to that?
I mean the animations are super cool. You guys like, can pull like shakes rounds out of the gun and stuff, and yeah, no, it's just quite neat. I like the way that they've done it. I think give it's one of those things. Is like given the system was coming,
Yeah.
it's probably the best implementation of the system that could have happened.
Hmm.
Regardless of what you think about it, but that's like the base assumption that the system was coming. They wanted to put it in, so and the system could have been implemented really badly in a like painful
Yeah.
way. And I think it's been done in a way that's pretty cool. Like the barrel heating up and going red hot is pretty cool
It's
as well.
yeah,
Like
really cool.
firing the stuff and like as it's cooling down, you got like the heat haze, like rising off the barrel, and you're like ADS, you can still see the heat haze. Like it's done really well,
Yeah.
and I think it's neat, and it gives if it gives some more choices, then I'm all for it, and it's kind of helps to if people have to like cycle their weapons a bit more and things, and that's also okay. And yeah, maybe there'll be like some unintended consequences, like my prediction that the M4 will probably be the best for it anyway, which continues to push that as like M4 meta as the best
Hmm.
thing. Along with the fact that it's got super low recoil, which with the recoil changes means it's also going to be a really, really good gun, um, which may be an unfortunate side effect of it. But I think it's good. I think it's good. I think it's decent. And apparently there's a hard jam that you can get, which is like really difficult to clear and takes ages. But you have to be
Huh.
under. It says on the note you have to be under 5% of durability on the weapon for that to happen, right? And bearing in mind I was getting to like 70. I mean, using the rubbish AK, I was getting to like 30, and that was after firing a lot of magazines. I was like, I don't have a bag big enough at the moment to actually bring it. I don't have a mag box, so I don't have enough. I actually don't have enough space to bring enough magazines to get it lower than 5. So I couldn't check it out. But I was like, who's ever going to get this lower than 5? Like, it's crazy. You have to actually try. You have to actually really work at getting it lower than 5 to get there. So I think that's kind of silly, but dude, it's good, and the 93% is good on the safe zone of 7%. Yeah, look, it's good, it's good, but
Yeah.
yeah, we won't go on about it too much more. Just watch the vid, and there's lots more to learn about this, is what I would say. This is it's like my first take on this mechanic, and there's loads that we can look into for it.
Yeah. I mean, it's sounds like they did a really good job of implementing it. At least I think so. And Yeah, I look forward to the video. I just God, I really hope they don't see this, trick, if you will, of people, sort of using the bindings to their advantage and be like, all right, we're removing that feature. No more, no more release keybinds. Like, no, my keybinds.
Yeah, I just feel like it's unlikely that they do that, but
I think so, but
it's possible.
it is kind of a shame that it is the problems is just like dude, once I saw that video, I'm like, oh my god, I'm loading up Tarkov right now to do that because that's just like that makes life so much easier, man. It's just like God, I've never played a first person shooter that uses like 80% of my keyboard. It's
No, I was
insane.
like sat there staring at my keyboard. I was like, where am I going to put you?
Yeah,
I was like, I was like, well, Mr. Key, where are you going to go? And also because I had to like assign a key for VoIP too, so I was just like,
yeah. Mine's still
where's
default.
what is the default key?
Okay,
Okay, oh my goodness.
I know. I literally have to take my hands off moving and just be like, yeah, bro.
I put mine on
Speak.
my old favorite, which was the caps lock. I used to always have push to talk on caps lock, so I put it back to that because I don't use it for anything else.
Um, can we jump on the void?
Absolutely.
Okay, void, dude. All right, so where to start? Where to start? I God, I haven't actually used a ton of VoIP on PMC, but I've used it a lot on Scav,
Okay.
and it's like amazing on Scav. Like God, it's like everything I wanted. Like honestly, like it like dude, honestly, they could just remove Scav Karma and I would be happy. I mean, I don't
Mm,
know. I might. I mean, I shouldn't say I don't know. I should say I feel like the system will work just fine. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, in some ways, I'm less likely to betray people because scav karma exists. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's kind of this weird thing, but yeah. Look, no, it's been great. I haven't used a ton on PMC just because I'm like omega sweaty gamer mode and when I'm grinding and I'm like I don't
Yeah.
have time to mess around. Like it's this weird thing. I've done it in Rust too where like they'll try to communicate and I just don't say anything and I just like I'm just gaming and trying to kill them. I don't know. It's a weird thing. But how has your VoIP experience has been so far?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's been extensive either, to be perfectly honest. I've seen, 9 out of 10 videos about EFT now are VoIP videos, which, is good. It's fun for the content and stuff. I think it's neat. I've like my scav runs. It's actually like kind of the other way around for me in some ways because I've actually been playing like bits and pieces of Factory because I had some like quests on there and stuff to do,
Hmm.
and I had one. I've not had a great deal. Like my scav runs have just been like looting and stuff, and I just hardly see anyone really. So
Hmm.
I have not really been doing VoIP on there. But with PMC, I've had a couple of funny ones on Factory. I had one which was I can't even remember what I was doing. I think it was just I had to kill. I think I just had to kill players for daily or something. Dailies are bugged, by the way, but that's a side note. I had to kill players on there, and I spawned in not forklift, but the one next to the wooden room.
Hmm.
And some guy was just like down the hallway, and he was like, "Oh, I've still got to kill PMCs for my pistol kills." He's like, "I've been trying like 16 raids in a row," and I killed somebody like in my area. Um, and I was just like, okay, well, I'm not gonna come down there. Like, I'm not gonna. And he was like, oh, I've been trying for so long. I'm just trying to get it done. And so then, and I shot somebody in the pump room, and kind of like
Yeah.
went in there, and I was just like fishing around because I'd never really been in there before, and I was like, oh, maybe I wonder if they've changed like gas analyzer spawns and stuff.
Hmm.
Like maybe there'll be some in there because it's where I think it's where they said they always would be. Um, and the dude like clipped me in the head, like it was an amazing, amazing shot, but I was wearing the ratnik, and so it just went doink
Hmm.
and PST'd off the back, and or like off the ears, sorry. And he was just like, dude, I'm sorry. And I was like, you didn't actually kill me. I was like, that was a great shot because I'm wearing the ratnik. And then I sprinted back into forklift, and he was like there in the corridor, and I turned to fire at him, and then he just like one tapped me through the eyes, and I was like, wow, that man is cracked. Like that's ridiculous. Like he tapped me in the pump room, and then he shot me again later. I was like, he absolutely deserves that kill. But it was so funny because he was like so apologetic about it the whole time, like the whole way. And he shot me in the head twice, and was just like the whole time was just like, I'm so sorry, man.
Dude.
It was funny. It was funny. But yeah, the only other one that I had was like very, very early on in the raids, and it was on customs. And I looted some stuff, and I was like going through. kind of like the factory area, but it's actually by the extract.
Hmm.
And there's like those two sets of rooms with the little mini stairs in. They're like kind of weird. They're like the starting rooms. There's like a stash next to one of them.
Yeah,
They're
what are you
like
talking
little
about?
pump rooms or something with pipes. It's very
Wait.
strange. So I was going through those, and there was a
Oh
dude
yeah,
coming
yeah,
the
yeah,
other
yeah.
way.
Yeah.
I could hear his footsteps, and he would just went like, hold your fire," using the in-game
Hmm.
voice line, and I just went, "Hold your fire," through the VoIP, and he was just like, "All right, we'll just pass each other, okay?" And I was like, "Yep, all right." And we were like on other sides of the wall, so we couldn't even see each other. I heard him carry on, and I just carried on, and that was it. We just,
Yeah, that's
no
cool.
interaction. It was good. It was good. So he was just like, "I'm questing." I was like, "Yeah, I'm questing." Like, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
Instead of, you both hear each other and then you just like go silent for 5 minutes. And,
yeah, it was on like, it's just like, but it's funny. It's like I feel that was kind of what I was worried about a little bit. I
Okay.
think it's fine, actually, having seen it, but I was worried that a lot of PMC encounters at the beginning would all be like that because it's like everyone's so invested in getting their quest done and not in PvPing that there'd be like too much like pacifism and it would end up like Scav Karma where like no one's shooting each other and it just ends up being super weird. But it doesn't seem to have been like that. I'm actually quite pleased that it's become kind of like almost like the bait trolling kind of backstabbing betrayal meta because you get the fun interaction, but people are still killing each other, which I think is
Yeah.
kind of funny. Um, I think like yeah, the only other one I had was like I fired at a two-man in interchange, and they were just like whoa whoa whoa, and I was like. I thought they were going to kill me, and then I managed to like skulk around and like escape through the little hole like a rat, out of the back door, just in the go channel. But yeah, I was worried that people were going to be too pacifist about it. But I actually think it's all right. I actually think it's all right.
I just remembered one experience, but another the other one I was gonna say is one of my first lighthouse raids. It was I was like looting the buildings, and then there was like PMCs coming up, and it was a group of them. So I had to fight them pretty well. Well, at least that's what's going through my mind. So I killed one, because they caught me. I was inside a room looting, so I had to just like wait until he came in my room and kill that guy. Then I'm fighting all these guys, and there's like two of them, and they're like, "Chill, bro. Hey, I just want to get my buddy's gear." And I'm not saying anything. I'm like full on, like, dude, I don't trust. Like my mindset is like, dude, these guys, the first chance they get, they're gonna shoot me in the back of the head. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So eventually, I killed another one, and then there's another guy talking, and then come to find out it was a player scav, and now there's like player scavs there. So I killed the other PMC. Now it's a player scav. It's just like pure chaos. They don't want to. It's if they were talking to each other, and I guess they forgot about me, or they assumed that the guy that was killing their teammates was the guy, the player scav being like, "Hey, I'm friendly," or whatever. So I don't. It was pure chaos, and it worked out in my favor. But the other one that comes to mind is I was on customs, and I was spawned in like the water, the blue ice room that has like,
Warehouse.
yeah, warehouse that has like the couple weapon boxes and the
Mm.
jacket. And I'm looting it all, and then I just hear like this horde of like footsteps coming, and the VoIP is on, and they're just like talking, and I don't know what they're talking about, but like I could just hear like the grease, dripping down from like their body. You know what I mean? I can really hear like the degenerate gamer inside of them. And so I try to like one tap one, but of course, as soon as I shoot one shot, I miss and I can't see them anymore. So I just like sprint around the cover, and I basically have nowhere to go. So I run outside of the room, the door, where like the blue fence is at, and there's like a little
Yeah.
green crate in the bush. And so I'm sitting right there, and then the guy starts talking to VoIP, and he's like, "Bro, I know you're right around the corner. You're not slick or something." And I'm just like, "God, as soon as this guy comes around the corner, I'm gonna headshot him." Well, of course he comes out of the corner and one taps me, and then he just like, as I'm dying, he's like, "Bro, you're so trash at this game. Go and install or something." And I'm just like, "Oh my god, dude, dude, this sucks so much because I can't be like, no, I'm better and kill you. I can't like, you know what I mean? There's just nothing.
Yeah.
It just that part really sucked for me, but
Yeah.
it's
That's
like
kind
fun
of
stuff.
like it's actually not been as bad as I thought it was going to be, but that's maybe because I haven't had too many PMC interactions yet. Like I've just not been in that many PMC fights. But it does appear, as you say, my worst fears have been confirmed, and you do indeed hear them for 2 seconds or something after you die, which
Yeah.
sucks. I just saw a clip from Velian where he told them that it was him, and then he someone's like cussing at him while he's dying and stuff, and it's just like kind of sucks. So I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Maybe once it matures a little bit, maybe it'll still be okay and it'll be kind of funny. But it's I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm not sure about it. I don't really like it that much.
Well, what even bothered me more is I was so mad. I was like, God, I want to report him for VoIP abuse, but there wasn't an option in death screen. I mean, it
Oh
probably
really?
wouldn't have unless I missed it. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I've not tried, but I thought there would be. Hmm.
Unless I missed it, but even then, it probably wasn't a legitimate report. I was just honestly just mad that I just got shit talked and died. But
Yeah.
oh man, I just really wish that I could just like get revenge on that guy. Just the chances of me getting revenge are just like slim to none. So it's just like whatever. And that's kind of my fear is like once this like late wipe comes into play, it's just gonna be like pure trash talk. Because this is what I want to talk to you about is you kind of allude to it. I've been watching as I said, like Trey a lot, and it's
Mhm.
kind of this weird thing where he has like let's say he has to kill PMCs in dorms. Well, some guys in there, he has to plant his objective in dorms, right?
Yeah.
Well, he's like, hey, I'm friendly, I'm friendly. He's like, oh, I'm friendly also, but I have to kill you for a quest. And it's like, oh, well, can I at least finish my quest and then you can kill me? Yeah, sure, okay, why not? And it's like, I don't know. I've been seeing this a lot in different videos, and it's just kind of this weird thing that I didn't really expect to happen. And I don't know how long it will last, but it's just
Yeah.
sort of like metagaming that VoIP really opens up the doors because you can
Mm.
just communicate so much better. And it's not something I've seen in other survival games because typically, you get progression through resources, whereas this game, you get progression through resources, but you also get progression through, being an errand boy and delivery quests. And it's not like if I take the pocket watch, no one else can take the pocket watch. So as
Yeah.
long as, it's I don't know, it's kind of weird, and I'm not sure what the implications are of it. But I've been seeing a lot, and it's just very odd to me. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know because the if you fast forward, once the guy has Kappa, he's not really incentivized anymore to work with anybody because of the metagaming. Like, hey, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back type of thing. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
because you
It's
don't need anything either, right? Like once you get towards the end.
yeah, I don't know. It's just very odd. So there is this like sort of early game advantageous, meta game power leveling thing going on.
Yeah, well, which I don't really like. I feel like it goes against this whole survival thing because, as you say, right, resources is one thing, but also, yeah, doing tasks, but not all of the tasks require you to escape, right? And so ultimately, that's the deal. If you don't need to escape, you have to do, the tool sets in factory or something. Then, yeah, you can team up and say, "Let me finish this thing," and then you shoot me because, like, you probably come in with a min-max kit, which means you
Right.
lose almost nothing when you die anyway. And so you're like, "Well, I get my progression, but I don't need to survive, so kind of whatever." Um,
And
I
it's
don't know. I
even
don't really like that
better.
that much. It kind of goes against the sort of the philosophy of the game, which is where I think it's a bit strange. But I think that will
Yeah.
go away as the tasks get harder and they're more PMC kill orientated and less like, just delivery stuff. But
Yeah.
again, when it goes away is kind of half of the problem. Because as I said, you got less to do. And then like why would you team up in the first place? I do find myself just struggling to like why team up anyway. Why run the
It
risk
does
of like
seem
I don't know.
risky.
I'm just playing. I am honestly playing the game mostly as I always did, even with VoIP on. I have to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Russ just taught me everything I know about VoIP. Just like the number one rule of Russ is never trust anyone. Like, God, that is that's stuck in my head. But see, that's the difference. Is like, if you and the pistoling, you got to plant or you got to repair the factory lights, and the pistoling has to get his PMC kills. If you guys team together, I'll make a deal with you. If you protect me while I plant these things, then you can kill me afterwards. Like it's I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I've been seeing it a lot, and it's really I didn't wasn't was not expecting. I was expecting some bloodthirsty stuff, man. Like
I mean, I've
some
seen
real.
some. I've seen some,
I
which is
have, but
very funny.
but that's the thing. It's mostly for the lols. You know what I mean? It's mostly for the LOL. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's just weird,
it's
man.
like I'm not sure. whether I can quite. I probably can, let's be honest. But I was like, I'm not sure whether I can quite bring myself to like really like, squeeze the system to its like maximum, just being like, oh hey, no, I'm friendly, and then just like headshot everybody. Like I don't know. I'm not sure. Like it feels a bit cheap. Um, because the thing is, there's no like it's super anonymous because you're not in the same service with people again. It's like as you said, you can't ever get revenge on
That's the
that dude. So like it's well,
thing.
what's the downside in just trying to is just tricking people and then just killing them? I don't know. Like it's
That's
it's
what
kind
has
of
me.
weird. Yeah, it's just like, well, what's your own like moral code? Do you actually want to be doing that? Like, I don't know. And, like maybe I'm not sure. I actually don't know where I stand on it yet.
Yeah, it's I just remembered another experience. I was on interchange looting Goshen as a PMC, and there was people VoIPing coming up to me, and I realized they were scavs. It was a group of scavs, but I'm PMC, and
Mm.
so they're just talking like, "Hey, we're chill. What's up, dude? What's up?" And I'm just like, "Oh my god, if they figure out I'm USEC, I might be screwed here." So I just immediately, as soon as I get the chance, I try to kill all three of them. Well, I killed two of them, and then me and the other guy are fighting, and I'm like, I'm kind of hurt. He's kind of hurt, but eventually he comes around and I don't know, he just YOLO'd and pushed and died. But it's yeah, as you said. I mean, another raid on Lighthouse. Me and a scav teamed up. I was scav, he was scav, and there was a USEC near the the USEC base trying to take him out, and I recognized he was USEC, and we were talking, but I'm just like thinking to myself like, this guy's USEC, so I just shoot him and kill him, and then the my scav buddy looks at me, and I'm like, yeah, he was USEC, so we should kill him. You know what I mean? It was just like he's like, oh okay, and then we get shot from another USEC somewhere else, but yeah, I want to see how it plays out. I'm really curious.
Mm.
Fast forward 3 months, I want to see what VoIP's like, and
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know, man. It's an interesting topic. It's an interesting topic for sure.
Yeah. I'm just not sure if I have the heart to. I just yeah. I don't know. Like you really could exploit it so
You
hard if
absolutely
you
could.
wanted to, but just like, is it worth it for like the free like just for the free kit? Like, I don't, it's just like, is it even worth it? I don't know. It's just like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm not
I
sure.
posted a video in ScavTalk Discord. Did you see it?
I did.
Someone shared it with me. I've never laughed so hard at a video in a while. MP plays Tarkov with VoIP, and it's absolutely
It,
hilarious.
it's it is funny. I watched about half of it before we started. It's pretty funny. There was one on Reddit as well, which I'll put in the Discord later, which I also thought was super funny. But oh yeah, I don't know. Anything else about VoIP before we move on? I think yeah, I don't know.
No,
It's
I
implemented quite
think
well.
it's
It's not that buggy. It's seems to work quite well.
yeah. I think overall it's a good thing overall, and I'm happy it's in the game. So that's
Yeah,
all I really have to say about it.
exactly.
Flea market stuff next.
I was leaning towards Inertia.
Man, I forgot about. There's so much stuff. Yeah, we should talk about inertia real
Talk
quick.
about Inertia first, I think, is the bigger topic. So Inertia was added. Everybody's first 5 minutes in the game made them feel a bit sick.
I literally could not walk in a diagonal. I had trouble walking in a diagonal direction. Like I'm serious. I literally could not go from room to room.
It's yeah, it takes a bit, took a little bit of getting used to because like you'd overshoot doorways and all sorts of stuff. Like I'm still not, still not an expert, but it's become a lot
Hmm.
better, for me at least. But it
Hmm.
has changed. Like I've seen lots of people's comments, tweets,
Yeah.
things that they've said about it, whatever. Like I think the community has overall been pretty constructive. Even people who don't like it very much also have been quite constructive. I think there was I think Yoinks tweeted just saying like, you know, Inertia's here, yeah. Like I think the fights are just less intense, which I think that was always going to be kind of a uh sort of collateral damage of the system. I think that was always kind of going to be the way it was going, just because it will be less intense, it will be less sort of exciting in that way. You're not going to be just like quite throwing over people's heads and stuff, just because like the game's slower now. That was kind of the whole point.
Hmm.
Um, I think for me personally, it's taken a little bit of getting used to. I find myself forgetting that when you swing out, you can't swing back.
Yeah.
I think that's the
Yeah.
biggest one for me. Like most of it feels fine to me. I like inertia when I'm stood still. I actually feel like ADSing being stood still feels okay
But
and then
Giga.
like when I'm strafing, like so when I'm not moving and I'm stationary, and then I move left to right, it feels fine, right? That feels okay. When I'm sprinting, inertia also feels okay.
Okay.
The part that feels a little overtuned to me is when I'm walking at normal speed. And that's the
Mhm.
bit that to me feels a little bit too much because that's where I feel like it's almost the most noticeable. And
Yeah.
I wish it was turned down a little bit there in particular. Um, but I mean, other than that, like they could leave it as is, and it would honestly be fine. And I think the thing that I'm learning to do is use cover more because cover is now more important because it's harder to get into cover when you're shot at. Um, and if you leave cover, it's harder to get back into cover. This is difficult. And I think like one thing that I didn't really think about before, which is an obvious result of this system, is that yeah, now the information like quick peek is gone. It's like, well, how else do you get information? You can still kind of sprint run from one side to the other and look if you want. It's not something I've ever really done, but now leaning is like way better.
Yeah,
Leaning is
for
way
sure.
better. Even though leaning is slower, it's actually now it was like the jiggle peak was here and leaning was here, and now like leaning's up here, but like jiggle peaking is now like all the way up here. So like relatively speaking, leaning is now the better option, and I've actually won a lot more fights recently, like using lean quite aggressively on people and getting shots off at them. And I think especially with the recoil system and people's crappy guns too, like being. I won a fight with a PMC in interchange, and I was in like Rasmussen, I think, or something, and I got shot at as I was like running through, and I got pinned. Like he was behind. If you come up the ramp and there's like a piece of cover just on your left, I think it's like maybe a filing cabinet or something that's on its side. He was behind. He was behind that. So like if you come up the killer ramp, in interchange and you come up
Mhm.
and there's like just on your left hand side there's like a box or something, I'm not sure, and I was in that shop and
Sandbag.
I think it's Rasmussen's, the one from his perspective is to the right of the ramp entrance, and I was
Yeah.
running through that
Yeah.
shop and I got pinned into the shop corner because he could see like the whole shop from where he was
Huh.
except the slice between the wall next to the ramp and his
Yeah.
arc of fire, right? So I was pinned in this little triangle and I was like, well, I can't go anywhere here. And I had like red thorax as well, so I was like, ugh. But I did have a 7.62 Vepr, and so I was like, you know, creep a bit, lean round, creep a bit, lean round, and like we were firing, and I was like doing the lean shoot,
Mhm.
but it felt better. It wasn't the insta snap like it used to be, so it
Yeah.
felt okay. I ended up winning the fight against him, which felt pretty good. And I was like, okay, this is decent. And I think I'm using cover a lot better now in that sense. So it's like you move up to the cover, then you lean round the cover, then you move to the next cover, then you lean round the cover. To me, it feels a lot more tactical. Um,
Yes.
and I think the outcome of it is good. Yeah, it could do maybe with a few tweaks to make it feel a little more natural, but we're still all getting used to it, and I'm sure in a short while it'll feel pretty normal anyway. But I think the outcomes of the system are actually pretty positive for the way that the game plays out, at least for me.
Yeah, I feel like, man, if this was in when I first started playing Tarkov, I would have had a better experience because I did just felt like, I was anticipating one thing and the game was presenting me with another thing. And it was just like, yeah, I was just constantly like creeping everywhere, trying to be all tactical. And I was just constantly getting owned. Yeah, inertia. Um,
It's
yeah, I
a
don't,
it's a crazy one.
yeah, I mean, I, I do feel I didn't really get the boat memes at first. But after watching a couple of videos, I kinda get it now, and it's like you were saying, when you're just walking, right, and you're strafing, if you just tap A or D, you go a certain distance, and it's very odd because you don't have a lot of, like, fine-tuning to it. In fact, it's so odd that if you I don't know what the combination is, it's only, like, on the left side or the right side, but if you, like, hit A and D in a certain pattern, you sort of do, like, this weird glitchy movement, like, I don't know how to describe it, it's almost like you stutter, and I don't it's like your PMC, like goes to the right, and then he like shoots to the left. Really, it's really weird. And there's something weird going on. But anyways, yeah, there's not. It's weird because like you're. It's like as soon as you hit D, it's like you commit to that full um movement, and like Counter Strike, you can like just barely tap D and you'll just like barely move out a little bit. You know what I mean? And if you want to go like the full acceleration distance, the maximum speed, you hold it for a certain point, and you can also like counter strafe, which you can't do in Tarkov, which is kind of annoying. Like if you hold, I think it's D and then hold A, nothing will happen. But if you hold A and hold D, then he'll counter strafe. Like it's
Oh,
really
yeah.
messed
I
up.
I thought that was my keyboard. I actually was testing that the other day, and I thought it was my keyboard. Is that just like a general keys thing?
I think it's just a Tarkov thing,
Huh.
just the
Yeah.
movement system.
As in, like one
Um,
key is takes priority over the other. Basically, if you're holding one and you press the one, it strafes it registers the other key. But if you do it the other way around, it doesn't register the first key. Something like that.
yeah, something like
Yeah.
that.
Interesting.
Um,
Yeah. There's like I don't know. It's funny. It almost feels to me like those other games have something like I don't know. They seem to have like more inertia, and I don't know whether this because the thing is, it doesn't have to be fully realistic, right? Sometimes things that are less realistic like feel better. It just depends
mhm,
um on on how you want it to feel, and it's weird. It's like like we were talking before about the capping in the semi-auto, which felt really bad. Felt really
mhm.
really bad. System gets changed very slightly, feels completely normal. Like this, you can make very minor changes. Like
Yeah,
those
yeah,
systems are almost the same. They're not quite the same, but they're almost the same, and they feel totally different, right? And
yeah,
I speculate as to whether inertia on the speed up should be different to inertia on the way down. Because the thing in those other games, you potentially have like you stop a lot quicker. Maybe I don't really know. I'm speculating, but that would feel different, right? So it's like, oh, it takes you a bit of time to get going, but you can stop quite quickly. Because you'd still have inertia, then you still wouldn't be able to jiggle peak because you still need to,
yeah,
to accelerate. But the one thing that I find is if you're trying to change direction from an A strafe to a D strafe or left strafe to a right strafe, that's when it feels like a boat, right? Because you're like strafing one direction
yes,
and then you go and then you press the other direction, and you go, yeah, and that's when it's like if you're trying to like and like you weave through
yes,
with strafe because I use strafe quite a lot, especially when I'm walking, just to I'm just so used to just like trying to change my direction so I don't just get
right.
randomly headshot, right? And so yeah, it's like it feels like you're piloting like a barge or something through the ocean. I did stumble upon something earlier which I haven't fully fleshed out yet, which I think might be a little tweak. It's not a bypass, not hack or of anything in terms of the movement, but there seems to be like a little tweak that you can make to the way that you move, which means that you move a lot quicker. It seems that if you slide continuously from a left strafe into a right strafe, it takes you a while to go from one side to the other. Whereas if you're left strafing and then you let go of the button, you let yourself come to a complete stop, and then you press D or right, you
Mhm.
seem to change direction faster if you let yourself come to a complete stop and then restart your movement the other direction rather than continuously changing from one to the other. It seems to me. I haven't fully tested it,
Interesting.
but
Yeah,
it feels quicker, honestly.
I feel like there's a. I don't want to say a lot of bugs, but I feel like there's something not going good in the system, and that could be a product of the old system. Because I kind of speculate that this system is added. The inertia system is added on top of the old system, and the thing that was most odd to me was you can still bunny hop in the game. In fact, I feel like it's almost easier to bunny hop,
It's almost every time. It's almost impossible not to bunny hop.
which is like to me that tells me that there's not. I don't know. I could. I'm probably just pulling. I am pulling this out of my butt, but my hunch is that it's not an actual physics system. It's just values. I mean, shoot, I remember seeing the logical tweet. It's just like X, Y, and Z values that that are just like, I don't know. I just I let me put it to you like this. I like the idea of inertia. And I think it makes absolute sense in Tarkov. And like what we have now is pretty good. Um ish, I guess. I don't know. But I like how the fights, as you said, feel more tactical. Cover feels more important. Um, I think the old system before it was just so. It reminds me of Apex Legends Season 1, if anyone's ever played it. You could bunny hop in that game, right? But the devs made an intentional choice where and the reason you could bunny hop was because it was the Steam, source engine, which it just, like I won't go yeah, let me not go in details. So, the devs made an intentional choice. If you were going to heal, your movement speeds can be cut in half, let's just say. And it was actually more than half, but it was very significant, right? You couldn't like slide, you couldn't, if you jump, you just like hobbled or whatever. Um, but what you could do is you could gain momentum, go to top speed, jump, hit the heal button, and then start when you land, start performing repeated bunny hops. And with the slide mechanic, you could even like increase this. So if there was like a slope, a downward slope, I mean, you could go like some insane speeds. So what would happen is once people, sort of understood this and learned how to do this, you would go into a fight, you would be, in a trio squad. You would push another trio squad, you as a solo person, you would fight them, you would take some damage, immediately turn around, bunny hop away in the cover. So it was so broken because you could do these insane pushes that are ridiculous. Normally you would just be punished, but instead you could just while you're taking damage, you're healing and bunny hopping away. So eventually they got removed of it. And at the time, I was like, this is dumb. My skill gap, my skill ceiling. But
Mhm.
in reality, it wasn't that like the amount of effort you had to put in to do this was relatively low. Like you just bind your jump button to the scroll wheel, and then it wasn't that bad. But the power it gave was
Mm.
so insanely high. This is like jumping back to Call of Duty 4. You unlock the underbarrel grenade launcher. It's like the power spike is just massive, dude. So it's like I kind of feel like old Tarkov's movement was like that. Like, jiggle peeking isn't this insane skill set, you know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
whereas now it's like, dude, if you peek out and you're out in the open and there's no cover, you're directly getting punished for it. So now it's like you were saying, you have to be more methodical, sitting behind cover, leaning, peeking, getting information. You can still do some of the stuff like running across and running back to like spot people. But it's a lot more punishing, I think. And I think that's good and that's like an intentional thing by the devs. They want to like facilitate this. So overall, I say all to say the concept I like. I just think the actual mechanics needs like fine tuning.
Mhm.
Because I just feel like sometimes you like I just want to move a little bit, but it's like I can't move just a little bit. You know what I mean? It's just this weird thing where you get that sort of like it's almost too inertia for that specific um AD, like just tapping A or D.
Yeah, I think it might almost be too much as well at like lower amounts. I'm okay with it when you start having some weight and that
Mhm.
stuff. As I said, it's like the walking one, but like at zero weight, I think like with when you're walking, it should be a little lower. I'm okay with it at the top end. It's completely fine. There's like another couple of things that um I think could be tweaked a little bit. So I feel that so I died one time because I just like misunderstood the way that it worked and because like the bushes slowdown thing was put in place pre-inertia, and now I think it's a little like I think it's a bit too much now because of the way inertia is. Because like if you get snagged in a bush and it slows you down, it actually takes you quite a long time to speed back up again, right? Whereas before you could like go into a bush, but then as soon as you're out the bush, you're like back to full speed,
Right. You have to
which
build
was
that
better. So now,
momentum.
yeah, so now bushes are like really, really hyper punishing. And there's kind of two things here. One of them being that like I'm sure other people are going to be doing this as well, and that's what I do. Is that often I will just jump straight through because there's a bunny hop every time that you jump now. I will just leap right through the bushes instead to avoid them, which is just kind of strange. And
Mhm.
secondly, I think that the bush slowdown also needs inertia. Like if you're sprinting and you're at full speed and you hit a bush, you're just like dead stop. And you get so like honestly, if you're trying to pull some like some kind of like thing, like I
Hmm.
was, and I basically like clipped into. So you know the bunkhouse one is like up the this is the quest for Prapo. It's like up that little ladder. It's kind of in skeleton.
Yeah.
I was behind that and the wall, you know, there,
Hmm.
and I was fighting two different guys from two different directions, one on one side and one on the other, and I tried to sprint out onto the road and then back the other side of the wall so I could get a right-handed peek and fight them one at a time. And yeah, I sprinted out, got caught in the very first bush. The barbed wire then also caught me as well. And I was just like trying to get out of the bush because once you're in the bush, even from a run, you're just dead stopped, right? And there's like, and I just got completely wasted. There was nothing I could do. Whereas in the old one, it would just been like the bush slows you down for a second, then you turn, you jump, like it's you get out of the way. Whereas now it's just like you just can't. And I think that bush slowdown also needs to have inertia so that you can like kind of bust
Right.
through small bushes and things because like right now yeah it just puts you to a dead stop at the moment and it's super punishing and has gotten me killed, absolutely gotten me killed.
And that seems to me like, push equals set speed to, this
Kind
value.
of.
Yeah. So, and I don't know. That's anyways. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels that way,
I,
but like, yeah, be careful of bushes now. They really have to be careful, and jumping through them is weird. It's like such a strange game mechanic, but it makes total sense, right? I mean, with the way that the game is now, if you're jumping, you don't lose any speed going through a bush when you're in the air. And now that you can
yeah.
bunny hop, you can jump like you can actually jump incredible distances. Because I was never that good at bunny hopping before, right? It's
Hmm.
like mostly kind of like the Chatty Labs guys who are really finessed it to a fine art. And also, I've never had that high endurance and strength either. And
Hmm.
so I like if I bunny hop too much or try to bunny hop too much, I just run out of stamina,
Yeah.
which really sucks. And so, but like now that you can do it pretty much every time, like I just use it sparingly as like a little skill boost and just boost myself through bushes and stuff, which is just like again, it's like counter to the way that I feel that the game should be played. I'm obviously going to do it, but
Yeah.
it's just a bit strange and a bit counterintuitive. I don't like the fact that it's so counterintuitive, but yeah, bushes are super punishing. Um, with the new inertia, and then not to mention the fact that like it's even worse now because I think like was it in the last patch where they buffed it up where when you get shot you lose like more stamina or something. So
Yes.
now
I was going to
so
say this.
now it's like you're in the bush, you've got inertia, you've got no speed, you can't get out of the bush because the inertia is happening and you're like it's super slow anyway. And then even when you leave the bush, then you have to speed up, and then someone shoots you and you can't even run anymore. And so like you can get really stuck. You can get really stuck.
This is like inverse of power creep, but it's like, before inertia, they some time ago they added it where when you take damage, you lose your speed, I assume, to like counteract fast movement. And then
Mhm.
now inertia's in. So it's like, dude, that's actually the part that probably sucks the most is like, you move from cover to cover, but in between that you get shot and it's like you have no movement and it's like you can't 80 strafe like before, so you just have to commit and just shoot back and hope for the best, and it's like I don't know if I would like that to be reverted, but anyways. um yeah, dude, inertia's pretty cool. I was gonna say one thing I picked up on immediately my first raid was a guy was we were fighting inside a building on Lighthouse, and he went to close the door. And as he was closing the door, I was able to shoot and kill him because you can't close the door, turn around, and sprint back on the same
Mm.
speed like before. You have to wind it back up. So you can't do that anymore. And I was like, whoa, that's actually pretty significant change. Yeah. I want to keep, yeah, I hope that they don't change it right now. I want to see how it progresses with the current system in like a couple of months, and how skills play into it. I'm very interested in that, because kind of my fear was like people were going to be like, "Oh my god, this needs to be changed immediately now," which hasn't. I haven't seen a lot of that. Um, I did see one that was absolutely hilarious. They were like, I don't even remember the name, so I can't even say it, but they said something like, "This feels like a change against directly against Shift W players." I thought this game was all about all the play styles and inclusivity. I'm like, oh my god, dude, are you serious right now? I was just like, I couldn't believe it, man.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I was having to play around just like jumping off stuff and then trying to turn, and like there's a max cap for sure on turn speed.
yeah,
Because you used to be able to just like turn full 180 in the air,
yep,
and now you can't do that. Now you get stuck, and it's like,
yep.
you know,
Which is kind of hard to get used to. Um, Maybe not my favorite change, but the outcome of it I think is good. I mean, you can't do those 180 flicks anymore at full speed, you know.
mm,
Um, it is a little
yeah,
annoying that it slows your like I don't know, it slows your speed and I feel like it slows your mouse movement too, which I that part I don't like, but
yeah. It's
anyways.
quite a high-ish cap, so it doesn't feel too bad. As long as you're not
Mhm.
doing like too fast a movement, it's kind of, I don't know. I think it's okay. I think it's basically like 95% there. I think all the tools to make it feel good are in. And as you say, I think it just needs a few tweaks. There's a few things in the world that need tweaking. There's a few things in
Yeah.
the actual like acceleration, whatever curve parameters they've got set up to, determine the speed of those, um, is is okay as well. Um, yeah, I don't know. I was just like speculating about how they could like speed that up, but yeah, I know I think it's okay. I think it's okay. I think it needs a bit of a tweak
I
with
think it's totally
walking and stuff, but
playable.
mm,
Yeah, totally playable in the current state. Maybe some slight improvements, but otherwise,
yeah.
good stuff. I did find one bug, and I'm not sure if it's related to inertia or not. I've recorded. I need to send it to them, but I figured it out. If you have, so you can't have a helmet on, you can't have a vest on, or anything that
Okay.
restricts your movement speed. And you can't be overweight.
Hmm.
So if you meet those requirements, basically a backpack with some loot in it, and maybe a rig with some loot in it. And a gun. If you tap shift, so like do this on your scav next time you don't have armor or a helmet. If you just like quickly tap shift, like try to get it in just a millisecond, um, while holding a directional key, like forward, I guess forward and A or D, or just forward. So you're holding forward, you just barely tap shift, your speed gets set to what I assume is max strength walking speed, and you move pretty fast. Which is interesting. There's no like
Really?
acceleration. Yeah. I want to say it's not related to inertia is my hunch,
Hmm.
but yeah,
Weird.
it is a weird bug and I am totally using it to my advantage to move around the map faster when I'm playing on my scav that has no gear on. So,
At least it's only then, right? At least it's only with like, no
yeah.
movement speed changes stuff. But yeah, weird. Send it to them. I'm sure they'll
Yeah.
repair it and fix it. Um, oh man. Should we okay, so we were gonna talk next about flea changes, right? I think that's
Yes,
the
yes.
other thing you wanted to talk about. I'm not there yet, so I've not had any experience on the new flea, but I've read, watched, listened to a few people talk about it.
Mhm.
Given that you've used the new system, I think you may need, uh, well, you may have like a different insight into it, but it seems like the slots are reduced now. Is it two max or something? Is that what they've said?
Yes.
So it's two max, and getting to three is like basically impossible, as far as I'm aware.
It would take a very long time.
Yeah, like it's probably not doable within the stage of the wipe.
Most people will definitely not
Yeah,
get it.
which is interesting. And then the other thing is just like loads of stuff's banned. It's like,
Yeah.
tell me you banned the flea market without telling me you banned the flea market.
Well, I wouldn't say loads of stuff.
All
I
the good
mean,
stuff.
yeah,
Pretty much.
specifically,
All the good guns, all the good armor, all the good rounds,
yes.
and a lot of the good, and a handful of the really top end utility things,
Oh, like what?
like certain bags, like MVGs, like thermals, like a lot of the
Oh,
like a lot
I
of the
missed
top
that
end sort of
stuff.
utility stuff is also gone. You can't get the
Interesting.
Not Berker, you can't get
Pilgrim.
the Barney bag on there,
Hmm. I
purple
did see
guy,
that.
Pilgrim, that's the one.
I didn't know about MVGs and
Can't get
thermals.
that. Yeah, MVGs, no. It might just be the GP MVGs. I'm not sure.
Right, the really
But
good
like the
ones.
super top stuff, like yeah, and I think the thermals are gone off there too. So it's like all the really high stuff all seems to be gone. They seem to be adding more things.
Yeah.
As people are saying, Tagilla and killer armors are still available at the moment. So people are like stockpiling them in case they get banned
Oh, that's
as
smart.
well, which is pretty funny. I did actually see a post today for somebody. They had like all like Tagilla helmets and Tagilla armors that they'd like stockpiled off the flea, which is kind
So
of funny. But it kind of becomes kind of like, this is fine. I'm interested. I'm fascinated to see what happens, but it does become kind of like the highest common denominator kind of thing. It's just like, okay, what's the next best thing that you can buy? It's a little bit.
yeah, yeah. Man, there's so all right. Let me just say, as I'm level 15. I think I got it the other day, and it's absolute pain only having two slots because there's not a lot of people on the market, and um because everyone has two slots. I Airwing is talking of Airwing, and he thinks that it's making the markets more volatile because people want to offload their loot. They want to get their rubles. So because you have one less slot, only two, you are more likely to undercut someone. So you see prices fluctuate a lot more, and I've seen it. I mean, it's like God, what was it? I think it was like TNT brick was like 60K, and then when I went to I was like, "Oh, that's good. Let me go grab all my TNT bricks." Okay, I only have like one. Here it is. Went to go list it. It's like 40K, and then it's like but it just like fluctuates so much. And God forbid you try to sell a muzzle attachment. Like, yeah, it's going for 30K, but dude, it's like it takes forever to sell, and then you might just get undercut by a bunch of people. So I really don't like this change just because of inconvenience. Like, it's so annoying to deal with it. 2 slots. It's really annoying, and I assume they did it to slow down progression as far as, like, ruble accumulation. I don't know. I mean, I think that the way to circumvent it is just gonna be crafting and farming the items that you craft to also add them to the big crafting, like, the big selling batch. Um
Well, the thing is though, like, do you want a big selling batch? Because actually, this kind of caught me last while when I started doing big batches of like certain rounds and stuff. Is that like if people are undercutting, big selling batches actually get undercut way more easily. You almost want to kind of put it in smaller pieces that are going to sell instantly, rather than have a huge batch that then like gives time for other people to then come in and undercut you. If you put up like 2,000 rounds of BP or something, then other people are like, oh well, I'll put my 100 in, 100 in, 100 in, and then you're just like sat there with a huge block. Like, yeah, people might come in and buy it off you because it won't disappear. But no, it's fascinating. It is fascinating. I think I agree. Like, I think the fluctuation and pricing, I would attribute that more. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but my personal view on that is just like the lower number of players.
It's probably a
So that
factor
so
too,
the lower
yeah.
number of players, I think, definitely affects the volatility of prices themselves. I do feel that the two slots thing should have a downward pressure on prices in general, as you say, because people are incentivized to undercut and sell it ASAP, just try and get stuff sold. I'm assuming everything's mega cheap.
It's typically how it goes is, the wipe happens and people wanna progress stuff, so if they can just spend rubles to progress it, not go on a raid, then that's where the money lies. Gear and stuff, it's kinda cheap, but also not cheap. I don't know, it's weird, like, killer armor was, like, 300K?
Oh, so it's pretty expensive.
Yeah, um,
That's like where it
Tagilla
finished. That's why.
yeah, Tagilla was more expensive. I mean, I think Tarkov Market's online. I could check and just see
But yeah, I mean, I guess the same thing happened as last time with all the barter items are just like dirt cheap.
well, I mean,
Well,
define
a lot of them anyway. A lot of the early ones, light bulbs and that kind of stuff.
well, not I mean, that's the thing, not really.
Oh, really?
Uh, well, let's just see here. Barter, light bulb, 20K-ish? But the thing is, like, it's not an accurate thing. Like, I'm looking at the screenshot here that the last cap that they got, the lowest listing was 10K.
Okay.
And then the next listing above that was 12K, and the next listing above that was 15K. And the next one was also 15K, and then the next one was 20K. So it's like you were saying, it's pretty volatile.
Mm. And quite big gaps between the different things. It's not like, 1 ruble, 1 ruble, 1 ruble like it used to be. It's
Right. I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see what that effect that has. I mean, just taking a little step back, just on everything broadly. I actually am
Sure.
really enjoying the way that this whole thing is set up. Like, yeah, maybe the two slots thing is like a little annoying, whatever. But like, I feel like this wipe is being focused a lot more on traders, like much more hardcore in like a hardcore account sense. Like, you find the stuff. It's hard to sell things on the flea. A lot of stuff is like the good stuff is banned. Traders are like unlocking items through the quests. And there's more like progression on item purchases through the quests that you do rather than just like you get to level 2 to 3 and it's just like a huge. I mean, it's still a bit like that, but it's like a huge swathe of
Yeah.
stuff becomes available. Now there's like some more like key items that are coming through quests and that kind of thing. We don't know exactly what's on what yet because it's not all been tabulated, but it
Hmm.
does seem to be the way that's sort of the way the unlock's going, which is kind of neat. Um, I don't know. I'm kind of liking it. Like, they've made it a lot harder to find certain items. There was like a whole bunch of items that I I had written down because like I still do not have the lavatory for one. Um, it's very annoying because I cannot for the life of me find toothpaste of either sort. I cannot find it, so I cannot build a lavatory. I have not had the lavatory up yet. It's annoying. I did end up like crafting the Salewas. I didn't find any of those. I found the syringes and stuff to and the hemostats to do that.
Yeah.
Now we're into like gas analyzer like hype frenzy with them changing loot pools all over the place where they've made it like almost impossible to find gas analyzers. But like I kind of like the fact that they've like slowed down the progression. I think there was someone else I was watching saying that the survival bonus has disappeared. I think for raids. I don't think
Hmm.
you get the survival bonus anymore. Like you used to get 1.5 times for surviving raids, and I think that's gone.
On that
Um,
note, raiders no longer count as scav bosses. They give regular scav EXP. So no
do
more.
they?
Yes, that's a huge change actually. Can't farm
That is
labs.
huge.
Yeah. Can't
That is huge.
farm. Yeah.
Hmm. So I think, yeah, so I think like a lot of the changes they've made have like slowed down progression quite a bit. They've made some of the items a lot harder to find. Um, like flash drives is going to be the next thing I think. I mean, I haven't found any of those. I started a bit to try and find them because I knew it was going to be
Hmm.
a problem, but like it's tricky. You need to find two of them, and it's just hard. And people talking about hunter matches, right? No one can
Yeah,
find those.
hunter matches.
I've not really been looking for them yet. But and even like Iskra lunchbox and stuff. It's like trying to find keys. I've like gone through a whole bunch of things, and I ended up doing the barter for the customs office. I did the barter for that because
Hmm.
oh my God, that was actually a real annoyance. So I went to Interchange to get the food to go. And I think it's squash, crackers,
Hmm.
and something else. I can't remember what the other one is.
Talcan Tershanka maybe?
Yeah, Torkan and Chishonka, exactly. And I was like, man, I've like gone here loads of times. Where am I going to find like trying to find the crackers, going through duffel bags, all this stuff. Like, all right, I've got the other two. And then I was like looking through therapist, just caught my eye, and I was like, oh my God, you can buy crackers from therapist. No, it was like so annoying. To be fair, I
That's
hadn't looked
funny.
for them for that long, but
Yeah.
I definitely did like 3 or 4 raids trying to look for them before I realized that you can literally just buy them from her. I was
Funny.
like, okay, I feel like an idiot now. But yeah, no, like I'm using the barters on the traders a lot more for those items that like are needed for progression. So I don't really feel like just ruffling through like a billion jackets particularly. I have some keys, like I had the portable bunkhouse key, I managed to get that, but I don't have
Yeah.
206. I didn't get the customs office one. There's like a whole bunch that I don't have. So having barters there is kind of nice because you can at least target those items. You kind of know if you
Hmm.
know where they are, you can sort of target those things and do it. So I think like yeah, I feel like that's quite good in some ways because it's kind of like game knowledge and sort of like looking through and if you're like looking specifically for ways through the quest system, it's kind of neat that they're sort of putting some paths in there rather than it's just like just RNG, just find them. At the same time as like slowing down other elements like the gas analyzer thing to keep people kind of like searching for stuff and playing or whatever. I think it's okay. I like it. I like the slow progression. It's not it's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not yeah, it's weird because hunter matches is an odd one because I don't think it's like a quest item, but it's a hideout upgrade, which is like I mean, I've seen so many memes on Twitter. It's like, men only want one thing, and then it shows hunter matches.
Yeah.
But it's I'm excited for how they're doing the flea market this way because this is sort of like a blending of the old and the new economies, like
Mm.
post flea and pre flea, because you have in the old flea market, or sorry, but before there was a flea market, it was like super heavy in raid and super heavy trader. You know, you
Yeah.
had if you wanted to run the juicer stuff, you really wanted to do your quest. Um, then the flea market came out and it was like, well, you just get rubles and get flea market requirements met, aka your levels. And then they tried playing around with the levels a bit. Now we're at level 15, and now they're locking away some of the more higher tier gear that can't be sold. So it's like you kind of want to do a mix of both. You know, it's a kind of a hybrid thing. So I'm like very interested to see how this progresses. In some ways, this is kind of like um Jesse's civilian flea market. Like very a very very
I thought
soft
this.
version.
I
Yeah.
thought that, yeah.
And I really want to see how that plays out because yeah, I think it's like good that they're doing any experimentation at all. You know what I mean? That's yeah, it's great that they're trying this and I hope they don't change it a lot as far as like um softening it up. Like I
Mm.
think they should kind of crack down more. Like on this topic, why is Killa and Tagilla gear on the flea market? That was kind of a question mark for me, you know? I mean, it's like I kill a raider with a slick, I can't sell it, but I kill Tagilla with a sorry, Killa with a Killa armor and I can sell it, but then I can't sell the slick.
Yeah, and like
But I
all of the items, right? Those are like specific boss items, which if anything shouldn't be on the flea, you know, because they're kind of like supposed to be set, sort of unique to the guy, right? It's like it's almost a bit weird that you
yeah,
kill him so many times and there's like loads of them on the flea
I
in a sort
just
of way.
but maybe the thought process is like, oh, it's a boss that can only spawn X amount of times, whereas raiders are more common, quote unquote. Like there's more of them, so there's more chances. I don't know.
Maybe.
It's kind of it's just a weird thing. I'm not sure what the thought process is. I would love to know.
Yeah,
Um
no, no, me too. I think the only issue that I have with the way that it is now is that like if you do get to high level traders, you're it's great at the moment, but you'll end up having such a massive advantage over everybody else
yes.
on that gear that is sold. We don't know exactly what's getting sold at what levels. I haven't seen exactly if they've changed any of the ammo, if they've changed the armor, if they changed the armor barters. I was speculating, and we were just talking in chat now actually about
Yeah.
an idea that's been bandied around lots of times by lots of different people about having find in raid barters for the high level items. Maybe like
Yes.
maybe at high level traders, maybe not, maybe at low level traders too, or like some assortment of different items that you can get at different stages of the game. I mean, I'm still a big proponent of finding raid barters. I actually think they'd be quite good for the progression because like once you get to that high level where you can unlock the barter, the flea, like it doesn't really matter then that it's barters and the fact that the flea's limited because those items are just a replicate for that item,
Right.
once you've got
Right.
the thing. So it kind of like is, well, it's the whole, you've just bypassed the whole system for
Yeah.
through three other items in a funny ratio. And then those items then track the price of the overall item, and then it's just one for
Right.
one, right? That's it. It's just how it will be. Where with finding raid barters is different because you personally have to go and find that stuff. And it's the same reason as to why the quest system is quote unquote better with finding raid quest requirements too, because you have to actually go and do it. You can't just buy your way through the quests like you used to be able to, which was like, yeah, the finding raid quests are annoying, sure, but it's kind of like the way that the games are really supposed to be played. Because buying your way through the quest is not the way it was ever intended.
Right.
And so this again is better, right? It's like, okay, well, you have to go and find these things yourself. Then you can go and get a slick or an ACPC or whatever it might be. Like, you can keep the bosses, keep them, well, change them, give them different items or whatever. Like maybe make the items rotate, maybe make it cycle, make it change every week, every month, or whatever,
Yeah.
using the new system that you've got for quests. There's like ways of dynamically creating.
Dynamic barters.
Yeah, exactly, and
Yeah.
have it on rotation, and maybe have some items not available some weeks, and some I'd be open to a rotation of gear or whatever, but I don't know. I think that like yeah, if they just have it as like ordinary barters that are then level locked, you end up still with the problem of like high level players having the stuff, the barter items just becoming a replica for the cash of having them on the flea, and then it
Right.
just means that like high level players can get the stuff and no one else can, and they can get it in infinite quantities because they can buy it off the flea market because they just need to rubles for it, and no one else
Yeah.
can get it at all because it's not allowed on the flea in its raw form. I think finding raid barters is kind of more fair and rewards people for the work that they do in raid. Um,
Yes.
and yeah, no, I don't know. I think it would work really well with the way it is now. They're basically banning all level, like once they ban all level 5 and 6, which I think probably will happen. Um, I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting to see whether they'll keep it like this. I think this is again, it's one of those things where people have said in the past, like Nikita will never get rid of the secure container, but slowly the secure container has been like, I know it's still useful, but it's been nerfed over time. Like it's not as good as it used to be
Hmm.
because of finding raid and various other things. Like it's kind of the thing, like, oh, we'll never get rid of the flea market. Okay, fine, but they're making changes to nerf it over time. Again, if they take away
Yeah.
the functionality for this, you can't buy level 6 armor, you can't buy high level weapons, you can't buy high pen rounds, all of that kind of stuff. Then again, it's sort of nerfs it without taking it away, leaving the utility of it for some of the low level stuff. Like, I'm probably going to buy, when I get to the flea, I'm going to buy one light bulb and upgrade my lighting. And that's kind of fine. And as you said, it's like Jesse's civilian flea in some ways because a lot of little, low level weapons are on there, which is fine because I guess lower level players can go and buy a gun, which is fine, and you get some choice, which is nice. But you can't buy a Scar H, which I think is okay. And it's we all want that feeling of like finding someone with like a decked out gun that they've worked hard to create,
Yeah.
um,
Kind of
and
what my
like
R says.
either using them, and like doing well because it's like super meta and you just feel great about it, or like killing someone with one and finding it and being like, dude, this thing is absolutely juiced. It's like
Hmm.
all sorts of parts that you can't get on the flea, the ammos you can't get on the flea,
Yeah.
high end mags. Oh yeah, 60 rounders are also banned on the flea, by the way.
Yeah.
And yeah, and like a gun that you can't get on the flea. Like as a player who's in this sort of average tier, you'd be like, this is actually really exciting. I really want to get out of raid with this, rather than like, okay, well, what's useful about this? Well, this thing sells for this to the trader, and I'm going to strip this and rather than leave it on the ground. I can go buy my own when I want one, which is what you're avoiding with the system. It's like there's things that you can't get yourself, or are difficult to get yourself that you have to find. It's a lot. I don't know. It's a lot better. It's a lot better.
Yeah. There's definitely pros and cons, and I do fear that this does disproportionately hurt the average player. Um, I mean, Airwing just did a poll the other day that was like, who has the flea market unlocked, or what level are you rather? And like, I think like close to 80% was like under 15. It's kind of crazy, but like I didn't realize I was the 20 percenters, but um yeah, it's just weird because now it's like the more like I'm looking at here, Ragman 4, you can barter for an Alton, as you were saying, you just buy the parts at the flea market, you can get a slick. So the guys that are really high level, they're gonna have even more of an advantage on top of the other advantage. I mean, sure they worked for it, but I don't know. It would seem it more advantageous for everyone if it's like what were you gonna say?
You have to find the stuff. Yeah, no, it's just like it's almost even more skewed too, because you're like creating like this two-tier market where you can get access to the flea, but you can't buy those things, but these people can. So it's
Yeah,
almost like two-tier,
right.
right? And so it's like because
Right.
those items then are not useful to 80% of the player base, the crafting components or the bartering components will be really cheap because no one's got any use for them except
Right.
people who've got really
They're
high
just
level
trying to get
traders. So
they're just
their
trying to
gear is
get
going to be really
money.
cheap,
They're just trying to get
surely.
money for
Yeah.
SKSs
Yeah,
and
exactly.
whatnot.
Whereas
Yeah.
like now you're like, oh well, I can barter for my Alton for like 30K because the parts are like
Right.
no one else. There's no demand for them because no one else can access the barters yet.
Yeah.
So like that will even out later on in the white. But it's like
Sure.
players who get there earlier are like disproportionately rewarded for their efforts, which is like, is that good or not? I don't know. I mean that's the outcome of the system.
Right. Right.
Um, Jury's out as to whether that's a good thing or not.
Sure.
But I think just like getting access to those trades in the first place is a pretty decent reward. But then combined with the fact that yeah, other people aren't on it, that other people can't get access to it, the fact that it's going to be very cheap for people, I think it's maybe like I think it's just kind of too much. But yeah, I think you should have to find those items yourself. I really do. You should have to commit stash space, which is one thing. Buy junk boxes and that kind of thing to like specifically have to go and loot for certain items if you want to buy them. I think that would be
I
I think
think
that would
that'd
be
be
good.
good. And I think I think too on that same vein, you're sort of like RNG in it, which is fine, but you're committing the work
Mm.
to do that. Um, but in the same vein, if you commit the work to like kill a raider or to Gilla for their scav boss, I mean, there's some RNG involved there too, and then skill obviously. I think that's also fair.
Yeah, but you know what I mean, right? It's like, you start off and you have access to level 1 traders and you do some work, you get level 2, and then you do some more work, you get level 3. So almost you almost kind of want it to be like the level 4 trader stuff can only be accessed through finding raid barters. But then yeah, you do get rewarded for moving up the ranks. So like you can buy some things, you get to like a certain stage of progression. You can go up to like maybe level 4 armors and like low level 5s, but then you can't get anything better than that. You have to do finding raid barters. So you're still getting, you're being rewarded for the work that you put in, but only to a
Sure,
certain point. And then after that, you have to go and do stuff actually in raid kind of thing. So then it kind of gives you like a mixture of both. I think the one thing that I would say about like the casual player and the average player these days is that I feel that like now there's actually with like ever since the KS was added, because I think that we've been through like dips and troughs about this stuff, or peaks and troughs. It was like most in meta, and then thorax
yeah,
changes, and the most in nerf, and then since then, like we've been in the well progression gap mode, and then with the KS being added, I think ever since the KS was added, I feel that like more and more tools have been added for low level players to kind
yes,
of
double barrel,
even that progression. Yeah, and with the double barrel and with the revolver
yeah,
shotty and with the buffs to like flesh damage and stuff, I think that gap's closed a lot. I don't know. I feel like it's not as rough as it was, and
for
that's definitely
sure.
going to help some people.
Yeah, and the odd thing too is they remove well, I don't know if it's an odd thing, but they removed the KS-23 from the flea market. I don't know if you saw that, but
They removed it.
yeah, which is odd because I the typically the KS-23 was like double the price what the trader sold it, but if you wanted to get it from the trader, you had to be level 3 prepper, even though you could get the ammo at level 2 prepper, but there's a barter for a less than desirable KS-23. Doesn't have like the long barrel, it has like a crappier stock at level 2 prepper. So it's like, but now there's a double barrel, so maybe that's not a big thing. Like they have a decent tool. And the Mosin's still good, if you can headshot them with LPS. But then again that you can headshot them anything. I don't know, it's interesting. I do think that Fountain Raid I would prefer Fountain Raid barters to be more of a equal opportunity. Like if you go into a raid and there's a slick on the map, everyone in that raid has an equal opportunity to get that slick, right? But, if I go into a raid and I get the Fountain Raid barter items, but I'm not the high enough level to unlock it, then it's like I don't really have that equal opportunity. I have to like
Mm.
put in all that work to it. So I almost feel like it would be interesting to have like maybe a new trader that just has like these high level gear items that rotate barter requirements that have to be found in raid. I don't know. It's all very interesting. Interesting subject. Overall, though, I'm just excited to see how this economy progresses because I think it's going to give BSG a lot of data, a lot of information, and the players can provide a lot of feedback, and we'll see how it pans out.
Yeah, no, I think it's cool. I think it's cool. I know we've been going for a long time
A
because
long
there's
time,
so much.
yeah,
There's so much. I think the only other thing that I wanted to mention again, it's all in the same vein. I think this patch honestly is one of my favorite patches of all
yeah,
time for
for
EFT that I've
sure.
played. The nade changes, I think are also really good.
God, I forgot about that too.
Having to pull out the nade and then throw it. Like as people said, maybe they can speed up a little bit or whatever, but like personally, I think it's fine. Um, Especially now, like now I'm not using like a ton of nades, it feels okay. I feel like grenades should be more, there should be a tool that's used more thoughtfully in some ways. And I think that it's good to slow down the rate of carpet bombing.
Yeah,
I think it's better because like, yeah, it's more, it gives you more,
they're more of a situational tool compared to an all around.
yeah, and
Heavy.
it's like the I don't know. In so many cases before, it was the obvious choice to throw grenades.
Yeah, for sure.
Whereas now it's like less clear cut, and I think that's better. I like the balance of that
Yeah,
a bit more. It's like you don't just auto throw nades now. It's the choice to do
right.
that because he was kind of like part of like meta play, especially
Oh, for
when you're trying to
sure.
like push someone in a corner or something. Um, yeah, you can still, and that's the thing, you can still do it and you can still use it for that utility, but it's not as clear cut, which is, I think it's just better for overall tactics and that kind of thing. So it's good. But I thought I'd mention it because I think it's actually quite a big change to like general gameplay, and it's more important in the mid game. It's actually less important right this minute, but it'll become quite important once people are like level 3 traders. You know, everyone's at a level,
Right.
like people are getting to level 25, 30. People have got a bit more money. Some of the hideouts up. It's it'll become more important later on.
I did see that F1 grenades were going for like 5,000 when I checked the other day, which is kind of insane, but
Hmm.
I think it kind of makes sense because my first impression is grenades are just like super low value comparatively to where they were before, at least,
Hmm.
and way more situational. But yeah, we'll have to see how it pans out. I did see someone, I think it was Slade posted in the Discord a clip of someone in D2 area with a impact grenade in their hand, and as soon as they open up the gate, they just throw it and then it blows them.
Like, yeah, it's like the GL, but costs
It's
like
yeah,
10K
it's
and there's
like the
just one slot in the
evolution,
rig.
dude. Oh my god, the evolution.
Why did they add that? Why have
We
they added that? I don't know why they've added the impact grenade. It seems like I was like, oh, because they're never going to add cooking grenades because that would be like way too overpowered. Dude, at least with cooking grenades, you have to actually like count and do the timing. These things, you just throw them. It's even worse. It's even worse
yeah.
than cooking.
Yeah, but with the changes, it is I mean, it's like it's almost like you have the old like take the time it took for you to throw the F1 grenade with the old system and then it to roll and then the detonator to go off. Now fast forward to this system where you have the impact grenade. Take the time it takes to either RNG pull out the grenade or pull out the hotline and then pull it, release, and then throw, and then for it to hit. Like they might match up. I mean, it's like it might be. I don't know.
I don't think so. I
I'm
just don't
reaching here.
think so.
Giga's like,
I
no,
know.
no, no, no.
I'm like, nah, mate, nah. This is wild OP. Yeah, you know, it's I think it's yeah. Let's see how it pans out. But I just
For
think
sure.
like I think people will end up with like belts of those things otherwise. Like it's gonna be mental. I think it's gonna have to be
Maybe
really restricted, like find in raid only, not purchasable on the flea. I really do think so.
does a trader sell them? Do you
I'm
know?
not sure. I don't even know. I don't even know.
Let's
But
see if it's on the
I've like
wiki real
had them on
quick.
scavs. I think I have some in my inventory.
Yeah, I have
I
a
haven't actually
few.
really tried them.
I haven't
Um,
either.
I think maybe I used. I think I threw one, or maybe I just
See,
died
my
with it
fear is
actually.
like I'm gonna pull out a grenade and then go to like throw it because you gotta remember you got inertia too, so it's
I know.
not. It's like it's everything's adding up, and then I'm just gonna die before I get the
Yeah,
chance to throw
you
it.
can still
I
lean around the wall. You can
yes,
still do the
yes,
lean throw. As I like, I'm just like wall hugging and then like doing so much leaning now.
yeah.
It's kind of fun.
I was gonna talk about key changes, but I think we'll say that for next week and some other topics. I mean, I'm sure. God, it's just you brought the grenades. I forgot all about the grenades, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah, there's so much. I think we've covered like most of the stuff though. I think like that's the bulk of it.
Yeah, I mean, granted,
Um,
it's only been what 5 days since patch. I mean,
yeah,
it's just very early impressions.
yeah. But I think like the big mechanics, I think that's the main stuff. Um, yeah, we're probably probably gonna have to wrap it up because I think we've been going for like 2 hours 25 or something.
Yeah, something like
Um,
that.
but it's big, dude. I'm having an absolute blast. I'm enjoying it so much. I think it's so good. The changes they've made, like Wipe's good anyway. And this one, I was actually going into it feeling like, yeah, I'm going to be a bit more chilled about it. Like I'm not going to be like rushing too much. Ended up playing like so much, but I
Dude.
don't know. I don't feel like hectic crazy with it. I feel like
Mhm.
I'm doing the tasks like methodical, whatever. Like I don't feel like super insane about it actually, even though I've been like putting in probably more hours than I should. It just feels like it feels. I don't know. It's a joy to play. Honestly, it's a joy to
It,
play at the moment.
it reminds me of a Dota 2 patch, like a yearly patch where they just do like all these big changes and it just like brings that new
Hmm.
life in the game. Like you've been playing the same patch for like close to a year now, and then new patch hits, and everyone's going crazy. Yeah, because
Yeah,
I was kind of in the same vein. Like I'm gonna just take it chill, but it's yeah,
it's wild. It's wild.
wild. Cool.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up here, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope all of you have some good raids, some good VoIP interactions. I would love to hear your stories. Because I've seen some crazy YouTube videos already. The content's been amazing for VoIP, and yeah, guys, catch you all next week.
Good luck.